What's up, delightful humans? I'm Shannon Townsend.
And I'm Richard Townsend of the Married Marks podcast.
And you are listening to Scheduled for One Fall.
Episode 44, scheduled for one fall. I am Patrick Pryor alongside Val Capone. She will be joining us in a minute. She's currently on mute, probably taking a shit, or it's on the way home. I don't know. And I am joined by a guy that I just recently became a fan of. I saw his the first match I seen of his was at GCW versus Freelance in Summit in January. And he's probably the first person that I fucking Googled as he was wrestling in the ring. Like, who the fuck is this guy? So without further ado, Tony Deppen, welcome to the show, man.
Hello, I'm calling it from cold ass Pennsylvania, even though you guys are like a lot more cold than I am right now.
Yeah,
kind of sucks.
Yeah, like where you're at will be like summer to us right now. Like I would be like out playing basketball or some shit.
Dude,
right
next
now.
week it's gonna be 55 here.
Dude, that is crazy, man. Like I wish, man. But yeah, once again, man, welcome to the show, man. Like
Thank you for having me.
I want to start off by just just getting a little rundown from you and stuff like that. The information that I got, you're from Shamokin. That's how you pronounce it?
You pronounced it correctly. Holy hell.
Holy shit. Shamokin, Pennsylvania. So how was it like growing up there? Because I'm going to be completely honest with you. I've never fucking heard of that place before in my life. And I looked it up and I seen that it's only like maybe
10,000 people.
Yeah, like it's not that many people. Like,
yeah.
So how was it like growing up in Shamokin?
Well, Shamokin, Pennsylvania is a small coal mining town in it's like mid-central Pennsylvania. Like you said, it's like when you Google it says like 10,000 people. Like it's not a big city whatsoever. It's still considered a city, which is weird. But there's literally nothing to do. Like the highlight of our entire city is the fact that we have a Walmart. Like it's one of those towns. Like there's no glamour or anything. It's kind of like a shithole. So, but you always have to it's my roots, so it's like I can't ever just constantly push it away because I don't live there now. My wife and I moved down towards the capital, Pennsylvania, which is Harrisburg, Pennsylvania currently.
Yeah, because I was gonna, I was doing all this research and trying to figure out more stuff about Shamokin, and I'm thinking to myself, like, man, what the fuck was he doing as a kid? Like, what was there to do? Like, I know like little small towns around where I'm at or in Chicago, like, the highlight is, like you said, hanging out at Walmart or hanging out at the fucking McDonald's like parking lot and shit. So like, what were you doing as a kid? Like, what was your thing?
Growing up, I was like, throughout my entire life, I've been heavily into the punk rock music scene.
Mm-hmm.
And my friends and I, we formed bands. Like I played in the bands for the latter part of my high school years. Like we always just every weekend we'd just be playing shows. I'd be putting on shows like with my friends. So like it was like almost a side job for myself. Like I would put on these shows and bring in local bands or maybe bands that are touring, and I would be a 16-year-old making $500-$600 a month by just putting on these shows. And then when I got to be 16, 17, I discovered backyard wrestling. So like I started segue into that, and that's what really kind of kept me away from anything bad, because like I had a lot of friends that went into like serious drugs, because when you have a small town, a vast majority of people dive into really heavy drugs, and that's not the scene that I wanted to go into. So like backyard wrestling kind of and punk rock music kind of pushed me away from that type of scene.
Oh, okay, that's dope. Yeah, because like I've done some research and I saw that you were like a baseball player as a kid. So I kind of figured growing up in Pennsylvania, I'm pretty sure you're probably a Pirates fan.
Hell yeah.
So like so basically went from baseball to basically making music into the backyard wrestling scene.
Yep.
Holy shit, yeah.
That's essentially what I did. Like it was nice because like growing in a small town, like it's inevitable that if your parents aren't nurses or like doctors, like you grow up predominantly poor, and that's what my life was. So like
Yeah.
me taking the time to put on these shows and make money was a way for me to, buy school clothes, or like, because my parents couldn't afford that. Like I would just put on these shows, and I'd take a risk of doing it, but
Yeah.
I'd make myself a lot of money doing it. And it was good. Like I was able to afford things that I couldn't afford if I didn't do that.
Right. Yeah, I feel you, man. And it's crazy because like you say that you're like, a punk rock guy, but like I think I remember your theme music being Starship.
Yes, it is.
So it's like damn, like how do you go from punk rock to like
It,
having that?
it's um I'm a very eclectic person when it comes to music. I like a lot of stuff. Now, when I was growing up, I wouldn't tell you that. I would be like, "Yo, man, I like punk rock music."
Mm-hmm.
I try to put on that persona, but like as I grew older and realized I like other styles of music, and it's still to that way this day. Like I love punk rock music, but I'm not afraid to admit that I listen to something on the radio. Like it's not a big deal. But like when it came to Starship, everybody was always putting on these like real heavy themes or something that was,
Yeah.
it didn't seem like it was fitting, and I
Mm-hmm.
wanted something different. And I don't know why. Like it was between that and Your Love by The Outfield.
Yeah.
Like those are my two main themes I wanted to pick, and I don't know why I selected with We Built the City. So over the course of the years of me wrestling, I was like, oh, I think I might change it. And all these guys that I've been wrestling around for years, like, you better not change that. Like, that's a perfect song. I was like, okay. So it's been the only song I've ever used since I've been wrestling, and it's been 10 years.
Yeah, I'm about to say, like, when I saw you come out, I'm just like, man, like, because to me, like, my first impression of you, like, when you were walking out, I'm like, man, who the fuck is this asshole coming out here? Because obviously, like, I went there, I knew who Freelance was and, like, Matt Nixon, all those guys. Like, I knew who that was. I wasn't familiar with, GCW, and we'll get to that, a little
Yeah.
bit later. But I remember you coming out, and I remember there's like a Freelance like fan, like he's always at every show. He's like the older guy, and he was right in the front row. And I think you like flicked him off or something like crazy. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't know, like, you were like this, like extreme heel. But I was very intrigued by you. And that's why, like, when me and Val was at this show and I'm sitting, right next to her and I'm watching like you guys in your tag team match, I looked up as much shit as I could find on you. And I was like, you know what? Because all right, so it's a running joke on this show that I was like a big Roman Reigns fan because I felt like everyone was shitting on him, giving him a bad rap or whatever. Like it was cool to boo Roman Reigns or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah. Just like Cena back in 2005.
Right, yeah. So now my thing is now, like, with Roman Reigns kind of like on the sideline now, like I am like the biggest Tony Deppen fan, and I'm gonna keep like I'm a mark for you. Like after that, like that was the first match that I saw you, and like that made me go down a rabbit hole on YouTube or Fight TV, like just trying to find like all this old shit that you did. So before we get into like all the shit that I found, when did you actually like started like all right, before we do that, like, okay, were you a fan of wrestling before you even started?
Dude, I'm currently 30 years old, and I've been watching wrestling for 27 years.
Holy
My
shit.
my first memory of wrestling is my dad took my brother and I to the local high school in Shamokin to
Uh-huh.
see a wrestling show. And like I don't remember anything from the show. The only thing I recall is my dad and my brother and I were driving out of the show,
Mm-hmm.
and all of a sudden Jim Duggan walked in front of our car.
Holy
And my
shit.
brother, who was 2 years older than me, reached over and honked the horn to tell him to get the fuck out of the way. And Jim
Oh
Duggan
shit.
just like shoots us a dead stare.
Holy
And
shit.
I'm just, and like, that's like probably the first memory I have of wrestling. That was me like 3 or 4 years old. So, like, it's been quite a few years.
Okay, so what was the all right? what was the first match where you was like, you saw and you was like, okay, I gotta do this? Like for me, like obviously I'm not a fucking wrestler. I'm just a black guy that just like wrestling. But when I was like trying to do like the backyard shit and all that stuff, like I remember watching my first memory was Bret Hart versus Mr. Perfect at SummerSlam 91. And then I think the match that made me kind of want to kind of get in the business, but never did, was what was it? I think it was Juventud Guerrero versus Billy Kidman for the Cruiserweight title on WCW. So what was your match that you saw and was like, you know what? I think I want to do this.
Ooh, that's I would never say I have a match that's ever stood out to me. It's just like, yo, this is what I want. Like growing up, Dean Malenko, he's been one of my favorite wrestlers,
Oh
even when I
shit,
was
yes.
like 6, 7 years old. It's like, yo, Dean Malenko is great, because like they were smaller guys, and I knew that I was never going to be a bigger guy because like my stature. My mom's fucking 5'2". Like
Oh shit, yeah.
I'm not growing, so
Right.
like Dean Malenko was always like one of my favorite wrestlers, and I never really had like a drive of like ever pursuing anything like wrestling wise. And backyard wrestling came along, and like I was going up to watch a friend of mine wrestle, and the guy that he was supposed to wrestle bailed on. He was like, yo, you want to backyard wrestle me? I was like, yeah, cool, whatever, dude, I'll do it because I've got nothing better to do. And it kind of just segued me into like falling in the rabbit hole of wrestling. And
Okay.
it actually made me appreciate wrestling more, because I was like, it's like the 2004 era of wrestling seemed like it was really dead. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
like there wasn't much that you could be like, yo, that was great. Like there might be, but I don't know. Like it just didn't interest me at the time. But that
Yeah.
really rejuvenated my love for wrestling, like backyard wrestling.
Yeah, like pretty much like you said, yeah, wrestling was kind of dead because all the competition was gone. That was around the time right after, WWE bought WCW out,
Yeah.
and it wasn't really nothing else to watch. ECW was kind of gone. So yeah, so on the backyard scene, did you wrestle as Tony Deppen or did you have like another like name?
It's always been Tony Deppen, like, because I have no creative geniusness in me whatsoever. So like it always was just Tony Deppen. Like, and I started back wrestling 2005 ish, I think.
Holy
So
shit.
like it just like I've been like, and like I did it for quite a few years. Like I haven't done it for probably 6 years, just because honestly the only reason I haven't is because my friends stopped doing it.
Yeah.
It was like one of them. It like the memories I've had from backyard wrestling, the fun I had from backyard wrestling will never be mimicked whatsoever. Like it was just the greatest times of my life. Like hanging out with my friends, just having great times with putting on crazy matches, and there's no premises to it whatsoever. It was just having fun.
Yeah.
And like you had Matt Nix on it. Like I've known Matt for 9 years because of backyard wrestling. Like we were on the same link that he was talking, because I listened to the last podcast he was on, and he talked about the GBYN or GBYWN link, and I was on that as well, and like that's how I met him.
Oh
So
shit. Yeah, like
because the whole premises of like when I knew I was coming out to Chicago for the next GCW show, he messaged me. He's like, "Hey, do you want to wrestle?" Because we always talked about wrestling. He's like, "Yo, do you want to be in a match together? When you come out here for the Friday show?" I was like, "Hell yeah, man, let's do it."
that is sick.
So
Yeah, because like I remember when I was doing like backyard wrestling, like you made a great point. Like the one of my buddies that used to be on the show, we used to do backyard wrestling, and that was, I would say that was probably some of the funnest times in our lives. Like, yeah, we like did a lot of dumb shit, like getting hit with fucking chairs and jumping off of ladders and all types of shit. And we used to do the same shit, just travel around. We didn't do it on a grander scale like you guys did, where like when I was talking to Matt Nix, he was like he was traveling all over all over the place doing backyard wrestling. Like we kind of just kept it like local, kind of like Chicago, Cicero, Summit, like those places. Like we didn't go super far. So yeah, that's definitely cool. So um I'm seeing like I guess like on my research, like it said that you started in like for real. Like your first company was NWA Mid Atlantic Championship Wrestling. Is that true?
no,
No. Holy shit.
because that's out of West Virginia, and that was probably 3.5 years that I got into wrestling after that, because that was 2011 going to 12. No, 2000. shit, I want to say 2011, 2012, because I remember that was the first weekend that I ever did a double weekend, like multiple. Cause I did a Friday show at NWA. It was in West Virginia. The guy's mother owned coal mines and a minor league baseball team at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So like, and then I had to go the next day and I did a match. So like, I remember that's definitely not the case. Like it was 2009. The first company I ever wrestled for was PCWA in Mount Carmel, Pennsylvania, which is 10 minutes from Shamokin.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, I'm putting that in my notes because whoever fucktard,
It's
whoever
cage. Is
edited
that cage?
yeah,
Is it that cage match death thing or whatever it is?
yeah. Like
Yeah,
I went on there
I
and
looked
got a
on
couple
that
things.
before, and I was like, "Yo, this is completely inaccurate." Like, I started in 2009. Like, my first match, I remember there were like 120 people on the show or at the show because that night it was the my state, the most prominent rivalry in high school football is Shamokin and Mount Carmel. Like they've been doing it for like 100 million years or whatever, and it's something that it's a really big deal. And they had to move the game to that night, so nobody showed up to the show because of that game.
Oh
So
shit,
yeah, so I
man.
remember that very very specifically.
All right, I'm kind of pissed, man, because like I gotta just throw all my fucking notes away because I definitely kind of relied a little bit on that because you are a very like mysterious person. Like I can only get like, and which is obviously fucking normal. Who wants to put every fucking thing that they do in their life on social media?
Yeah,
So like I had to like do like some extreme like digging, and shit. That's how I figured out like you played baseball when you were young, but so I guess were you like self-taught or did you like actually like go get training at like the backyard wrestling or you just said, you know what, fuck it,
uh,
I got it from here.
well, the backyard wrestling to begin with, after I did my first match, after just being like, "Hey, do you want to wrestle?" with like 30 seconds of notice, um, the guys that ran the backyard company, there's like, "Hey, we would rather you come up here and actually train with us because most of those guys were trained or sort of kind of professionally, you know, like they knew what they were doing. Like we would like for you to come up and train with us." So my buddy and I, we went up. We would train like 3 times a week and
Mm-hmm.
try to learn as much as we possibly could. And like I have a vast collection of wrestling DVDs. I have over 1,000 wrestling DVDs. Like
Holy shit.
I've been watching independent wrestling since 2003. So I have a lot of DVDs, and I would just watch and learn. And then I went and did some formal training. I can't say it was the most amazing training because it's the local area. Like you're gonna get
Yeah.
what you get,
Right.
unless you
Yeah.
travel 3 hours to Shikara for the Wrestle Factory.
Right.
So really, just at the time, it just wasn't in my books. But like I learned what I could, and then I've always felt that like the best way to learn is to go out and wrestle new people because that's the way you progress. It's not
Yeah.
because of what you learned. I have a friend that he was one of the last students of CM Punk,
Oh shit.
and
Yeah.
he's not that great of a wrestler.
Oh well, damn. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah. Since you put it like in that perspective, yeah, like yeah,
Like
you gotta go out and
it
get experience.
it doesn't matter who taught you. It's a matter of how you apply what you've learned.
Yeah.
So, and I just would take different facets from different trainings from everything and just keep trying to do my thing.
Yeah. Okay, well, shit. I guess now that all my notes are completely fucked because whoever runs fucking Cage, whatever that shit is, got all your shit fucked up. I'm just gonna skip into I guess like would you say like 2014 was kind of like a breakout year because that was the year that and I'm just gonna put air quotes because it might be wrong. You supposedly won the PCWA United States title against a guy named
Um,
John Carr.
2014 was I was getting ready to graduate college, and I don't even remember that fucking belt, to be honest, because PCW was the local company I wrestled for that was just it was not good. Like nothing against what they do, but it just nothing was good about it.
Yeah.
And after that, like I was the type of guys like I always try like a lot of my friends are like, "Oh, Tony, you're good at what you do," blah blah blah. But like I never got the bookings. Like because one,
Mhm.
I'm not a brown noser. Like I have never been, and
Yeah.
two, it's just like I don't. Maybe it was my attitude. I really don't I don't know, but um, I was just like, maybe I should just stop wrestling. I'm graduating college. Maybe it's just time for me to go on and get a real job and all that fun stuff. And
Yeah.
my wife, she was just like, I enjoy you watching wrestling. Can you just wrestle? Just keep doing it. I was like, whatever. I'll give it one more year. And I did a show well, backtrack like 3 months prior to this show.
Mhm.
I'm a big fan of deathmatch wrestling. So I went to a deathmatch show, and this one guy's like, "Yo, that's Loudy. He runs On Point Wrestling. Blah blah blah. You should talk to him." I was like, I don't give a shit about wrestling. I don't anymore.
Mhm.
So my buddy was drunk. He went up to Loudy. Loudy, send me your stuff. I send him my stuff. Blah blah blah. Fast forward, I had a really good match with a really good friend of mine, and all of a sudden, like, I just started getting momentum, like
Mhm.
to the point where I'm just like, I was like, yeah, this is starting to be fun again. Like I'm getting momentum. Like I'm having fun. I'm making money for once in my life. Like this is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. Yeah. For
So
sure.
like it literally just started segueing to where I'm at currently. Like everything was a building block to it.
Yeah, because you definitely turned up in like 2015. You started wrestling for SWO. You went to True Wrestling. You went, obviously, you just mentioned On Point. There's Legacy Wrestling. And then obviously,
CCW.
yeah. And then obviously, yeah, the big one, Comeback Zone. And I was going to ask you about the death match stuff because I saw it, as a teenager. I'm 4 years older than you, so like we're kind of like in that same kind of bubble. So like I saw it, and at first I thought I'm like, man, it's cool as shit. But then I thought like, man, I would never do that. But it's like what like and you have been in like some death match. I've seen like pictures of you like going through fucking tables with fucking barbed wire and shit like that. How do you mentally like prepare for that? Like going into matches like that, or you just like fucking and it's just on like pure adrenaline.
Well, like the barbed wire table you're speaking of that was with Jeff Cannonball at On Point.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeff's one of my best friends. Like when I first started On Point, like him and I just hit it off really well because he was in a punk band for the longest time. Like we just have similar ideals in life. So
Yeah.
like we just always hit it off. And then the promoter's like, "Hey, you guys gonna wrestle?" And I said to Jeff, I was like, nobody expects me to take anything like hardcore, and then like let's throw me through like a barbed wire table, whatever. And I did it. It's kind of like just mental, like said fuck it, like clear my mind, don't think about it. And then as soon as I hit, I was like, yo, that was the worst fucking thing in the world.
Oh man. Yeah, I can only imagine.
It
Holy
fucking
shit.
like I was like I was sitting up and like the barbed wire like turned sideways and went into my leg,
Ooh.
and I was pulling out, and you could see my skin stretching. I was just like freaking out a little bit, and
Oh man.
like obviously people know in wrestling that wrestlers blade,
Yeah, yeah.
and I was gonna blade, because the way we did the spot, and it was like 1,000 degrees in that building that day because it was like in the middle of July, and I was like, "Yo, Jeff, my gig fell out," and Jeff goes, "Okay," and he grabs the barber and starts punching me in the forehead as hard as he can. And I was like, "Oh my
Holy
god, that
shit.
fucking hurts so bad!" And like I just started bleeding. I was like, "This sucks so bad. Why did I decide to do this?" But like, since he's one of my best friends, because he was in my wedding and everything, like
Yeah.
I didn't feel bad about or I didn't feel like I had to get retribution on him for doing that to me whatsoever because we were so close.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm pretty sure it made the match fucking even better, just having that spot there.
Well, yeah, because nobody's ever seen me do that before.
Yeah,
Like
like
it was different. That's why I wanted to do it. The promoter was like, "Well, why'd you have to go out and do hardcore stuff?" I was like, "Because nobody expected me to do that. Like everybody expected me to go out and have a wrestling match, and I
yeah,
didn't want that."
yeah. So okay, so we're gonna just I'm gonna go all the way up to 2017 because this was like your like year because you won actually 3 titles apparently according to this fucked up website. You won the True Championship,
Yep.
and you had that for a long fucking time. It says 301 days.
Yeah.
You also won the OPW heavyweight title, and you actually I guess well, not guess, well, you defeated Joey Janela at OPW Masters of the Mat 2, and you had that title for a little shot like 11 months. So
Yeah,
that was a long fucking time. And then you also won the GCW Extreme title.
that is
And
correct.
yeah. Oh, all right. Well, let me keep that in the notepad. Make sure that's all good. Yeah. And you lost. And I had to mention that you lost it to PCO, obviously, because he's like fucking rejuvenated on the indie scene. Like he kind of like went away for a minute, and now he's back on the scene and kind of like wrecking shit and doing a lot of crazy shit. Especially at I think he's like 48, 49 or something
Yeah,
like that.
he's 51.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So yeah. So like he's out there like killing it, man, right now. Especially I think he just signed with Ring of Honor. So that's
Yes, he
actually
did. That's and and he's literally the fucking man, nicest man in the world. So like, it couldn't happen to a better guy.
yeah. I've heard nothing like when I talk to other people that's met him, they've had nothing but great shit to say about him. And so 2018, you started wrestling with Chikara. Like, how did that come about?
Shakar came about because I don't know if like it shouldn't really matter, but the one guy that I wrestled, the Whisper, we used to backyard wrestle together back in the
Mm-hmm.
day, and they're doing National Pro Wrestling Day, and the Whisper, who he hit me, was like, "Hey, do you want to wrestle me for National Pro Wrestling Day?" Blah blah blah. And like Shakar's like, I have every Shakar DVD known to man, like
Yeah,
every single one. So I was like, yo, I get to wrestle for Shakar, like, so it's like a little bit of a mark out, check off moment for myself.
yeah.
So
Holy
I
shit.
agreed to it, and we had a solid match. And Mike Quackenbush messaged me, and he's just like, hey, I think I might have a spot for you on our roster. Would you be willing to, put in the time with us? And so like, yeah, I was like, I'd be honored because it'd be a great learning experience with me. So like I went in and I've been doing that since 2018, and on in 3 weeks we're starting off the year with a National Pro Wrestling Day.
Holy shit, that's cool. That is fucking dope, man. Let me see. I'm trying to look up some shit because now I'm kind of pissed. Like I said, I thought I did all this fucking Inspector Gadget work on you, and like, oh, I'm gonna bring out the facts. And you go, oh shit,
Well,
and
what
some of
facts
this,
do you have? Maybe slightly
well,
accurate. Like,
okay, well, I'm assuming that you are a big fan of craft beer.
yeah, I'm currently drinking beer right now.
Holy shit! What are you currently drinking?
I am drinking a beer from a brewery called Dewey Brewing Company. It's called Secret Machine. It's a blueberry strawberry granola parfait beer.
Holy shit! I'm gonna have to try that. Like, I'm not really a beer person like Val. She's normally like the alcohol person, and normally like when I go, me and her go to the bar and shit. She'll like force feed me like I'm trying I'm tame, man. I like fucking like hard apple cider and shit like that. Like I don't go fucking crazy, but I do want to get into like the craft beer and stuff because I got a whole bunch of homies that's all they drink and shit.
Yeah,
They're trying to
I
get me.
I love it. Like my buddies and I brew beer for a living. We're not for
Oh
a
shit.
living, but we're actually starting. We just looked at a location the other day of trying to start a brewery together. Like, so like we've been doing it for a while. We do festivals, and like it's I balance my normal life, wrestling and craft beer.
Yeah, so that's
So
yeah, because I was gonna ask like, okay, like when you're not wrestling, like what do you do like for fun?
brew fests, like we do that. Last weekend was like one of the weekends I had off for a while, and I went down to a brewery. It's in Hatfield, Pennsylvania. It's called Imprint, and my buddy and I went there. We just hung out for the day.
Okay.
It's that because I like it's weird to me having off a weekend of not wrestling. Like I don't know what normal people do, so
Yeah.
I try to figure out like, well, what am I supposed to do? Like I don't have wrestling this weekend, so
Yeah.
it's difficult. Like sometimes wondering what to do during a off weekend. Like I don't have much hobbies outside of wrestling, beer, and hanging out with my wife.
Yeah, understandable. I mean, shit. Yeah, like if I was married, I would be doing the same shit too. So,
I
you
don't
know,
know. Maybe you should bring your wonderful wife to Chicago and come to freelance this Friday and then
I
drink beer with us all weekend.
I
holy
told
shit.
my wife to come to Chicago last show, and she goes, "Do you really think I want to go to fucking Chicago in the middle of January?" I was like, No, and she goes, exactly.
I think
If it were July, she would have probably been down for it, but January, not a fucking chance.
yeah, we gotta get her out here, man, and have some beer and get Mr. Matt Nix and like go out and you can kind of school me on fucking craft beer and shit like that, because like I said, I don't know too much about it. I'm like a lightweight when it comes to like
I
drinking.
I when I like because I was we were in Chicago for GCW back in May,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a lot of free time, so I went to a few breweries in the general area. I went to Moore Brewing, which is it's not too far from Villa Park, because we used to run at Villa Park, so I would go down there and see some breweries. So
Okay. Um, I'm gonna assume, because once again, like I said, this may not be true or not. You have a dog by the name of Achilles,
yes,
and
yep.
I'm assuming Achilles is like around maybe 7 years old.
He's gonna be 7. I have Achilles and I have Bailey.
Okay, see, all right, shit.
Bailey's gonna be 9, I think, 8 or 9.
See, I guess I did do some good research. Holy shit. Okay,
Was
I'll
your
pat myself on the back.
was your dog originally named Davina Rose and then you changed it to Bailey?
Nope. I got my dog. Both my dogs I actually purchased at 7 weeks old, which is illegal in the state of Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
But
breaking the law.
yep. Well, I did not want to do that. Somebody told me that the dog was 8 weeks old, and that's that. So like I've had them since they were eligible to be adopted by me. So one is a purebred dachshund, and the other
Mhm.
one is a Chiweenie, which is a Chihuahua wiener dog. So
Yes. Yes, I've seen pictures. I think that's Achilles.
Achilles is the purebred. The
Okay.
the mix is Bailey.
Okay.
She's the oldest.
Okay. So one thing that I do like about you as a person is like you're very vocal on Twitter about just like anything. Like you're not really a political person, but like if something's fucked up or not, or
Yeah.
whatever. So I definitely appreciate that, because like sometimes I be like seeing, like I follow these wrestlers and shit, and especially with the guy that's in the office now or whatever, like they be agreeing
Yeah,
with
that
shit, and
dipshit.
and I'm just looking like, man, what the fuck, man? Like I can't get behind you. I can't fucking root for you if this is what what I'm saying. So I do appreciate that you get online and you basically say whatever the fuck is on your mind, and you know I'm assuming that don't like fuck with any of your bookings or anything like that, because I'm assuming, just like how it is with me in the music business, like there's some things you just don't talk about. Politics is one of that,
Mm-hmm.
and shit like that. So you kind of don't want to rub people the wrong way.
There are
And
things I won't post because I'm like, I don't know how it's gonna be perceived by the internet
right,
crowd. Like,
Oh yeah,
right.
exactly.
and
I
if
mean,
if you ever have a thought that it may be perceived differently, then don't even fucking say it.
then you're
It's simple
probably
as that.
right.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I have a thing, like I don't want to spoil anything, but like I have to do a segment during the WrestleMania weekend
Hmm.
where I'm just like, yo, is the internet crowd gonna get mad at this or not? Like, but like that's what the promotion wants from me. But I know it's gonna do well. But like I feel like the initial set off of it may rub people the wrong way. But then I think
Hey,
when they
Tony.
see how it goes, they're gonna be like, okay. But I don't want the initial backlash. That's what it is. Because like I'm not that type of person. Like I know, like when you saw me wrestle, like I'm very vocal. I'm out there. I'm just screaming this, that. But like me, that's not who Anthony Deppen is, not Tony Deppen, because they're two different people.
Like
So, I'm sorry, Patrick. Do you mind me asking what shows are you going to be on during Mania Week? Because that's where I'm going to be.
I'm gonna be on spring break.
Oh, awesome.
I'm not gonna tell you which day it is because I can't reveal that.
right.
That's fair.
I will be at Interspecies Wrestling,
Okay.
Okay.
and then I will be on the Shikara show. Which the Shikara show right now, it's Team Fist versus team or the Colony. So like that'll be like we did that at King of Trios and we had a lot of fun. So I imagine that night will be like even better. And
Awesome.
ISW is me, Jigsaw, I'm horrible with remembering things. I don't remember. I just know Jigsaw. But ISW, it's gonna be like it's called Boner Jams, I think.
Yeah.
It's gonna be awesome, and like they have a Lego death match that night too, so it's gonna be really cool.
Oh man.
Oh, that's intense.
Yeah. So that's all.
Um.
To my knowledge, currently, like I don't know, maybe after that, but currently as we speak, those 3 shows.
I can't hear you, Mr. Deppen.
Sorry, those 3 shows are currently what I'm at
Okay.
for that time.
Good to know. I will definitely put that on my schedule.
Yeah, like going back to a minute where you were saying like, you know, the difference between Anthony Deppen and Tony Deppen. I will say like I was fucking intimidated because obviously, like I said, you know, me and Val, we was at the show in Summit, and I remember seeing you like at the table just sitting there, you know, with the merch or whatever, but you was not even dressed, like you were just like whatever, just fuck it, just like you were just sitting there in your fucking tights or whatever. And I'm asking myself like, damn, do I want to go there and say what's up? But then I was like, no, I don't want to fucking be a mark, and he's not dressed, and you know, like I don't want to be a fucking neck beard, and you know, so I left you alone. But it's just so crazy how the things that you did in the ring kind of made me like, man, I don't know if I want to fucking talk to Deppen because I don't want him to like flip me off or fucking, you know, like ask me what the fuck do I want.
I thought you were the perfect amount of prick and hilarious. So that's why I was like, yeah, this dude rules. Patrick was like, I think I'm a fan of this Deppen guy. I'm like, yeah, dude. He's like a smarmy prick that's hilarious, I thought. So
I literally just try to feed off what the crowd does. Like, if you were like, I remember the one time I did a show and somebody said something and like, I instantly snapped back and like, this kid hears everything. Like, and like, I like, I wear fucking thick black rim glasses for a living. I look like a dork. Like I don't wear black rim glasses because it's a fashion statement. It's because I can't see worth shit. Like I'm a relatively nice person. I can be a dickhead if I need to be, but I'm not. And Anthony Deppen, and then you see Tony Deppen. It's just like it's like somebody made the perfect example of like Tony seems like that friend that you always bring to a party to make fun of somebody that you don't like. And like that's, and when I was like 15, like I was literally that fucking person. Like my friends were just like, yo, Tony's going to say something to this guy because he doesn't care. And that it's just segued into that. Like I used to be a guy that just wanted to do cool moves and then just kind of like kept building to something different. Like, so, and that's where I'm at currently of just being a loudmouth, you know, getting dropped on my head, doing cool stuff at the time.
No, it fucking works, dude. Like what you're doing is fucking working, and I've been telling like people like, man, I'm like, man, I think Tony Deppen's gonna like he's gonna be somewhere like very soon, man. Like I feel like I will see you like on a grander stage, if that makes any sense. Like I feel like it's happening, man. Like
if I quit my job, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, like it was just like I said, it was something about you. Like I've gone to shows and seen like, you know, wrestlers like I've never seen before, and they didn't do anything for me. Like, yeah, they had a cool spot here and there, and like that was it. But like I don't know, like I was intrigued by you being an asshole. And I was like, you know what? Like Val said, like I was sitting there on my phone and I was looking up like who you were, and I instantly followed you that night, like on Twitter and Instagram and shit. And I'm like, all right, I gotta like pay attention to this guy and see what's going on because what you're doing, like I don't see that a lot. You know, like a lot of guys like they go with emotion with these these indie shows.
It's more like the way I liked it. Sorry for cutting you off, but like you could see all the cool spots. You could see that, and you're like, yo, that's really cool. Blah blah blah. But like you remember the moments in wrestling, like when you watched like have you ever seen Shawn Michaels versus HBK to WrestleMania?
Shawn Michaels versus
wait,
HBK.
what?
Or sorry, Shawn Michaels versus Ric Flair. Sorry, my brain's
when he says I love you and he kicks him?
Yeah, that's the only spot you remember, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's the majority of it. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember HBK doing the Asahi moonsault to the outside through a table where he misses?
Where he missed, yeah.
Yeah, you might remember that, but the first spot you is at that moment. He doesn't do the super kick, but the I love you spot is the moment. Mm-hmm. And I think like in my mind, I feel like I create more of a moment than I ever do of a spot, because I don't do cool moves. I don't like.
I've seen you do some cool shit, man.
I
Don't
don't,
look, man.
no, like compared to what like some of these guys can do. Because like I've seen some
Yeah.
of these guys, and I'm just like, yo, you can do some really cool stuff, and like I can't compete with, like a fucking double rotating front flip. So I just like, I'm gonna do the opposite. And
Not everybody's got to be Will Ospreay though. That's the thing.
Exactly.
Is like
And
those guys and girls that do that kind of shit, they're amazing and they're phenomenal, but I think it's the wrestlers that connect with people on a different level other than, look at me, I'm a superhero and you can never possibly do this. I think it's the
exactly.
people that wrestle that kind of make it more real and bring it to like, okay, I can be a superhero, but I'm also this guy who's an asshole, or this gal who's a dork or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
or I'm like the awkward, like, oh man, everybody's watching me wrestle in my underwear,
Yeah, like some guy said to me, it's like, Tony's like, I don't want to just start saying anything. He's like, but you just make it feel real.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Like, I'd rather that than somebody's like, yo, you did a cool fucking double twisting moonsault tonight. Like,
Yeah.
I'd rather feel real.
I will say, like, the matches that I've seen, and you've been in the ring with pretty like a lot of like dope people like Desmond Xavier, fucking Leo Rush, Teddy Hart, Flip Gordon, the legend ECW, Tommy Dreamer, our boy Gringo Loco. Like, so you've been like in the ring with like pretty much every type of style, and I feel like you can like fucking go with the best of them. So
yeah, I really like to allow myself to learn from other people that I've wrestled. Like, I don't want to be somebody that could just be like, if I come in with Gringo, like, and he'd be like, yo, we're gonna do all this shit, and that's the only thing I can do. Like, I don't want that. Like, I want to be able to be somebody that could be well versed in what I do, and I feel that's somewhat of appeal to me. Like, I can go out and have a cool match where I do a million arm drags, but then I can go back and, like, I wrestled Tracy Williams at GCW, and everybody's like, yo, that match is fantastic. Because it was just more pure, and like there's so much emotion, because like he beat the fucking shit out of me, and like it just built so well. So
all right, shit. My last question that I got for you, outside of the I got that you've wrestled 123 total matches, which might be fucking wrong.
Oh my god, no, it's wrong.
You're like, this year alone, and it's only January 31st.
Oh god, no, I refuse to wrestle in January, because it's the worst month to wrestle, because nobody draws well, and you have so many seasonal aspects that come into play. So I try to like do like 2 shows a January, but after that, it's just every fucking weekend.
Man,
no
it's like
weekends
bartending.
free. Yeah, like you have
like
your
nobody
seasons.
has any money.
Yeah, exactly. You have your seasonal aspects where you don't want to do anything.
World.
Exactly, and that's how wrestling is. You do not mess with January.
Oh shit! So out of the quote unquote, however many matches that you had, what was the one match that you was like, you know what, man, that was a fucking classic. I put on a classic, and yeah, I'm the shit. Like, what was the match that you've done that made you like, yeah, I'm the shit?
Yeah. Second part to his question: where can we see it?
I don't think I'll ever
sit.
I'll never sit there and tell you that a match of mine was the shit. Like, because I'm extremely judgmental towards everything I've ever done wrestling wise.
Yeah.
Like, I never feel like anything is complete, but like I really enjoyed my match with Hot Sauce Tracy Williams at the GCW show back in December. I don't remember the name of it, because I don't know. I'm horrible with names, but that's on Fit TV. Okay. But I also had like on a independent wrestling TV or Powerbomb, whatever you want to call it. The first match I had with Tracy Williams as well at True Wrestling. That was a lot of fun. And then any match I've ever had with like the most underrated guy in the fucking world, Unbreakable Andy Harner. All those matches are on YouTube. Like, that guy is just fucking, everything he does he's amazing what he does. Like, that guy has the craziest mind for wrestling. Like, those matches would always be like the ones that are standout to me. It's like, yo, that was a great match. Like, everything we did was fantastic. Like, it had a good build, it had good character work, it had great spots, like all that stuff. Like, so those are like, awesome. if I could wrestle Tracy Williams and Andy Harner all the time, man, I'd be set.
I think that's the match I saw you. I think you won one of the titles when you went against Andy, and
The true one.
Yeah. That was a good fucking match, man.
Yeah.
Shit,
that guy's just crazy.
I'm trying to think. Like, I think that might be all the questions that I got. You know, because I'm not one of those guys. Like I said, I'm not a fucking neckbeard. I'm not. You know, hey, so you know. Like asking like all this technical shit or like super duper.
Patrick, what's your tagline?
I'm just a black guy that like wrestling, man. That's
there. You go.
Like I don't, I don't care about the other shit. And all right, I guess I got a question. Okay, what's the craziest shit like a fan has done?
Oh man,
I wouldn't say it's to me personally. Well, I did have somebody threaten to cut my head off once.
That means you're a good fucking heel. Holy shit!
Hate you, honey. You're doing your job 100% right.
But well, there's two instances. Like it's like the one kid he literally like just got in my face and started screaming like he's gonna fucking kill me because like it's like 2012 and I came out and I just did like to suck it to like the entire like I wear glasses so my vision is like it's good for close encounters but like anything further than 5 feet, yeah, kiss your luck goodbye with that.
Oh shit!
And I just did suck it or whatever. And this kid's like, "You told my fucking 14-year-old cousin to suck your dick," and like he started like going ballistic, getting in my face. I was like, "Dude, how about you sit down and shut the fuck up?" And like, he just kept getting in my face, and like the security had to take him out. I got in the ring, and he called me a pussy. I was like, "Well, you're the one leaving," even though they're escorting him out. He like started charging towards the ring. And it was funny to me because like that stuff's hilarious. Wrestling, it's a show, and you're literally gonna. It shows you your competence if you're gonna get that upset.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I play roller derby, and I have for 15 years, and I'm not here to make friends. Like, I don't want to make enemies per se, but I'm there to beat up your team when we come to your town.
Exactly.
And if I get booed, that means I'm doing it right. And if I get cheered, maybe they liked, the way I leveled their players or whatever. But usually at the after party afterwards or at a bar or something, or I'll be at the gym the next day and people would be like, "You are such an asshole, but you're also really awesome. And you are such
That's
a
what
bitch."
I get a lot.
And it's like, and like I said, if they hate what you're doing, that means that they love you. So.
And then this wasn't particular for me that happened to me, but my friends that I'm like, they're still some of my best friends. This was like 7 years ago. It was a real small, really bad indie show. Like you didn't really have to know how to be a wrestler to be on these shows. Like they're some of the worst shows I've ever been on. And my friends were sitting there like jaw jacking with this older, big set lady. And like I don't remember what they said to her. And they turned around and she jumped at them and tried to jump on his back and choke him. And he just took a quick step forward and she fucking face planted right on the cement and smacked her face off the ground.
Wow.
And he just turns around and starts laughing at her. I was like, oh man, that's the coolest thing in the world. Like it's ridiculous on how crazy some of these fans will be. Like I said, like you have that. I had a fan threaten to cut my head off just because I don't even know what I said to him, but he's just like, he's like, yeah, you're going to be funny when I cut your fucking head off. I'm just like, okay, now like this is something different.
Yeah. I mean, I got called a fat cunt for leveling out a jammer that like I weigh 200 pounds. I'm 5'9". I'm not a small woman by any means, but I basically launched a jammer, which is the point score in roller derby. I launched a very petite but very strong jammer into the crowd.
That's awesome.
So yeah, and I basically was getting like hate mail from people being like, "You stupid fat cunt," and I was like, "Well, I mean, you're not wrong. Val Cunt Pone works for me perfectly." You know what I mean? But I was just like, "Damn, I felt really good that day. I got your blood boiling that much. All right."
Yeah, exactly. You need a fucking life if you're gonna get upset about that.
Right. Like I bought the girl a beer and I was like, "I'm really sorry, dude," and she's like, "Fuck it, roller derby."
Oh yeah, I've already hit people extremely hard, and after I was like, "Yo, I'm really sorry about that." Just kind of was like I got wrapped up in the moment, and I just kind of hit you way too fucking hard.
Sometimes you throw a stiff punch, Yeah, what
exactly. You know what it is. You just gotta apologize and do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
And if they don't drink beer, you find them the Diet Pepsi that they were looking for, and they're thrilled.
Exactly, or you buy them a hot dog.
Yeah, hot dogs only work. Yeah, holy shit. Yeah. See, this is crazy because, like, this is like I say this is the second interview that I've done, and I'm completely sober. Normally, Tony, I'm on the Satan spinach.
Yeah,
So
normally
like,
he's rolling with Snoop.
There's nothing
yeah,
wrong with that. I was in California in November for shows, and it's kind of legal out there, and that's all I did
yeah.
the entire time.
Oh no! Oh man, see, I knew I like this motherfucker right here. I knew it. All right, yep. See, yep. I'm normally on the Devil's Lettuce doing the show, but I was like, man, you know what? I gotta be professional, man, because I don't want to like talk shit and then,
Because he's a professional wrestler.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
why, Patrick.
yeah. Like
You're interviewing
I
a
try to be
professional
cool.
wrestler. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess shit, man. Like we found out pretty much everything about you and shit that we probably didn't know because some fucktard on that website got it all wrong. I should fucking email them and tell them like, hey man, like just delete the whole page and just start over, or just contact the wrestlers and ask themselves like, what the fuck, man, like, because that's like the wrestling Wikipedia, damn near.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
And it's
It's
like,
supposed to be, but it's often inaccurate. But so is Wikipedia a lot of times.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I gotta find whoever runs that website and tell them to kiss my ass. But so yeah, I guess we're done with all that, and I guess what we'll do now is we'll just talk about like shit that's going on right now. Obviously, like this was a big week in wrestling and stuff, and I know we talked a little bit before we went on air. Like you seen some of the shit or whatever, but I'm guessing like the first big news is that Dean Ambrose is leaving WWE, and apparently, according to Big Daddy Dave Meltzer, he turned down like a big ass deal where he was going to make somewhere like to $1 million to like $3 million a year for the next 5 years, and he was just like, you know what, nope, fuck
Yeah.
it.
Every I read said a minimum 7-figure deal to be determined by length of contract, but they wanted to lock him down for 5 more years.
I don't
And he
know.
said he doesn't want to do hokey shit. And almost instantly, Joey Ryan said he's going to love doing hokey shit on the first indie that he wrestles me.
Yeah.
And Joey Ryan released a t-shirt that's the king of hokey shit.
That. Yeah, I saw that shit. That's well, I still want the Rest in Penis shirt. I still can't find it, but it is what it is. But yeah, so I guess like fucking Dean Ambrose is going from WWE, and or he will be.
I think everybody's saying, is it a work? Is it a work? But they put it out there on their website, and Renee said, she's supporting him, and it's very interesting because they haven't exactly put anything about Hideo Itami, who will be exiting WWE fairly soon, and
I think he's already released.
Yeah. But they have a 90 day non-compete. So 3 months till Kenta O'Clock.
Yeah, like my personal opinion, like I don't like. I never give my like legit opinion on wrestling because like it doesn't always seem like it fares well with other wrestlers. Mm-hmm. But like the last time WWE ran an angle with a guy that was getting ready to leave, that was Punk.
Yeah.
And it was a work. Like it might be, it may not be. Like I don't know. My gut feeling is like, like the way that like that's 4 months from now. Like, do you really think they're gonna sit there and say, "Hey, this is what's happening 4 months from now," and then still put them on TV?
Right. Yeah.
I also think it's kind of interesting because I've been hearing that the non-wrestling roles, such as commentators and officials and even the ring crew people, they are being supposedly, and this is all just wrestling rumor bullshit, so who knows what's true and what's not, they're supposedly being doubled, and they're being offered double their pay to re-sign immediately, even if their contracts aren't up.
Yeah,
because they don't want to lose anybody else to AEW. I think that's the best thing about AEW, honestly, is that it's creating competition and it's forcing WWE to maybe reevaluate their product. Because I honestly don't think that A, Becky would have won the Rumble, B, Nia would have been in 2 Rumbles. I don't think any of that would have happened, honestly, if it wasn't for AEW. I think it would have just been shits and giggles crap show like usual.
But see, like this is my like beef with WWE and like snatching up all these guys. If we look at NXT Takeover, which I forgot to put the fucking results in the fucking Google Doc file, my bad. Like they didn't have anybody, like every show they have like a new signing in the, they pan to the crowd, they have like a new guy. I thought Trevor Lee was going to be there, but I was reminded that he was at AAW in Chicago at the same day.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
And so is ACH. So
yeah. So
both of the two guys are rumored to be going to NXT, very soon.
Yeah.
I mean, they've both signed, but
Well, I think Trevor Lee said he was going to be at WWE. Like he signed with WWE.
Yeah. He signed.
It's just
he
has to finish up his obligations, and one of them was AEW, or excuse me,
AAW.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to say, like AEW, like what? Like
yeah. No, see,
No.
my thing is my beef with WWE snatching up all these people, like they got Jeff Jarrett is now a fucking producer. Abyss is a producer. Sanjay Dutt is a producer. Daivari is fucking the Hurricane is a producer. I feel like WWE are just snatching up all these guys because all the guys that I pretty much named besides Abyss, they still work the indies. You know what I'm saying? Like Hurricane was on
Abyss
all
does
in.
too, though.
Yeah, so it's like I wonder if they're I don't know if they're cock blocking. Like I don't know what it is. Like
those guys like Sanjay, Biss, Hurricane, they have their ear to the ground when it comes to indies. They're on the shows. They see
exactly
who's going to be who, and they like most of the wrestlers that like they've been to the dance, like with that's a stupid term, but like to WWE during the times, they know what to look for. Like they see what's on the indies, so they might be like they're a producer. They might be able to like Vince or the Triple H, blah blah. Like I saw Joe Schmo down the street. He did this and he was really good. So maybe we should take a look at him. And and then WWE discovers a new star. They didn't rip somebody from the indies that was killing it. Which is a lot of things they do. Which is it's still great for those guys because I remember seeing Kevin Steen Owens, whatever you want to call him nowadays. Like I've been a fan of him since like 2003, and I would go to Shakara shows in like 2008 just because like, yo, Kevin Steen's on the show, blah, blah, blah. This is great. And I always wanted him to get signed. I was like, but he just didn't have the look. And that was one time WWE always looked for looks, always. Yeah. And then when he got signed, I was just like, yo, this is fucking fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely, right time, right place kind of thing.
Pretty much.
They generally only sign I shouldn't say only, they used to generally only sign like the people like Drew McIntyre's look and
and like Claudio Castagnoli, like
and
the thing is during the time that he got signed, I remember back in 2009 2010 WWE wouldn't sign you if you were over 30,
right?
Like they didn't touch you because they're like, oh, you're too much of a risk, you're kind of older, and
Patrick,
then they started signing those guys. So like that's why another reason I was like, oh, Steen won't get signed, he's a little bit too old. But like then WWE started looking at that, and I was just like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like I'm happy for a lot of those guys because I've met a lot of those guys through my endeavors of wrestling, and they're just the nicest guys, and they deserve it more than anything.
Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah, so like, man, like all these guys are getting released or quote unquote released or asking for release. So like it's gonna be dope. I'm very excited to see what AEW is gonna do.
Oh, me too. It's great.
Like it's I think it's good for the business. It reminds me, like I'm telling like all my buddies that used to be wrestling fans, kind of like they stopped watching when The Rock and Austin left and shit. So they don't know what the fuck is going on. And I'm like, look, dude, like this reminds me of like
Monday Night Wars.
Yeah, Monday Night Wars. Like you don't know who's gonna jump.
Exactly.
So it's very excited, man. Like I can't wait for the shit. And
I'm just excited because a lot of these people that are signed with AEW, like I know personally, and it's really cool. Like I'm like, like Janela, I love Janela. Janela is one of the guys that actually helped me get where I am at. Like he's helped me out tremendously. Like I have nothing but respect for Joey.
Yeah.
And then like Jungle Boy, who I wrestled out in GCW for the LA show, like literally like no one knew who he was, and him and I had a match, and now he's signed to AEW. And I messaged him just, like I don't put people over on Twitter, like personally. I don't do that because I just never liked it. It's corny, and it seems like you're trying to get like the cheap rise out of the internet crowd. Like maybe they're like, yo, this person likes him, he's cool. So I messaged him, and that kid's like 10 years younger than me. Like he's young.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yo, congratulations. I heard about the signing, and I knew about it for a while because, I got the inside scoop.
Right.
I was like, congratulations, blah, blah. And she's like, you deserve more. I was like, yeah, maybe my time will come one day. Maybe it won't. Like, I don't know. Like, if it does, it doesn't, you know, like it is what it is. But like, I'm just happy that other people are making money off of wrestling and they're not having to work 600,000 days a year and take a million neck bumps just to make maybe $30,000 a year.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Yeah. So, I guess all right. Well, I guess that's all the news. It really ain't much, just fucking AEW shit and stuff like that and whatever. I guess we'll go into NXT Phoenix Takeover. First match was the War Raiders defeating the Undisputed Era. I thought it was a great fucking match. Hanson looked at, he was my MVP of the match, him and Roderick Strong. Like that match right there reminded me of it was like a refresher of like who Roderick Strong was. Like he was doing some crazy shit in that match, and I thought that it got overlooked a little bit.
Yeah.
But Hanson was incredible, obviously doing fucking springboard moves and fucking cartwheels and all types of shit. Incredible match. I don't want to fucking rate it or anything like that. I don't want to give it, whatever a star rating, but it was a good fucking match. Like I
thought it was awesome, top to bottom. Like even the intro, like I was
just gonna say you forgot that intro, man. That intro was fantastic.
It was fucking cool, and also like Sarah Logan was one of the Vikings, which is super fucking cool. So was a couple of brothers and sisters and friends and family. Like that's fucking cool that they brought their Viking family with them to make a statement. And I mean, we had already discussed this last week on our predictions, with Matt Nix, that we all kind of thought that War Raiders were going to go over. And as soon as that entrance happened, I was like, no shit, dude, there's no way that they're not taking this. And that whole match was just excellent. I loved it.
That was a really good match. And NXT has really revamped like the tag team world. Like, I remember last year, I want to say it was like, the tag team world was like, okay, it was there, but like it was the Revival was it Gargano and Ciampa? Like they fucking killed it, and everybody everybody put tag team wrestling on notice at that point. They're like, yo, like that was one of the best tag team matches we've seen in years. Yeah. And then all these NXT shows, they're just going out and putting some of the best tag team matches in the past, 10, 15 years, and they're just fantastic. The pacing, the structure, and then like the build up, they're just fantastic. And like I always watch, like one of those specials, I always make sure I watch the tag team matches because they always blow me away.
Yeah. Speaking of specials, sidebar, the fucking Ro and Sarah Logan wedding on the WWE Network, I fucking cried, man. It was fucking nice, man. Like it was nice. Like
I gotta watch that.
Like when I first saw it, I'm like, oh man, what the fuck is this weird shit? Because I saw, the pictures of Amber Moon and her wedding, and they did like the Harry Potter shit or whatever, and I'm like, oh, whatever, But they went in depth and like they showed a lot of shit in their wedding, or outside of the honeymoon, and it was really nice, man. Like it was genuine, man. Or they're good fucking actors. Like all the lady wrestlers that was there, like Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, all those guys. Like it was wonderful. So I advise people to check that out. But yeah, War Raiders fucking won the tag titles, and that was pretty sick. The next match after that was, for me personally, was a little disappointing, probably because I think it was the crowd, they wasn't into it. But Matt Riddle defeated Cassius Ohno. I thought it was a good match. It was stiff as fuck, but I just think the crowd just didn't connect with it. I don't know what it was. Maybe because of
it's probably the placing
match. Yeah,
it was right after such a hot match. Like it should have been maybe a little bit like maybe the next match after that match, and that's the problem with wrestling, especially with those takeover shows. You have such great talent and matchups that it's hard to be like, well, where is this gonna fit? Like you just kind of have to run with it, and that's what they do with that. Like it was such a great match. So
I mean, Kevin Owens said, if you're not main eventing, you want to open the show because you set the tone. I distinctly remember him talking about that, and he couldn't be more right. But it's like, where do you put that Ono Riddle? Do you put it on the pre-show again? I mean, no,
like,
you shouldn't. Yeah, neither of those guys should be in pre-show.
I love opening. Like when we did, when it was me, Jungle Boy at the Lost in LA, we had to follow Great Sasuke and fucking DJZ. Like that was the opening
God.
match.
Oh God,
So
why
I
was that
just
the
like,
opener?
yeah, because Sasuke had to catch a plane back to
Oh, yeah. That
Japan
makes
within
sense.
like a couple hours. It's like fucking A. It's like, why couldn't we be opening? Like with the follow these motherfuckers, like it's hard. It's really hard to follow something that may have a lot of hype or that they just connect really well. And that's what
Right.
they did in the tag match. They connected so well. And then Riddle and like they didn't have a bad match by any means. It's just the crowd was just into that tag match. So like it was hard.
Yeah.
And I completely understand with the way they roll.
I also feel like, is Cassius Ohno going to get a win? I mean, come on.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time. I think the last
yeah,
time
but he's fucking. He's so great.
He's the shit.
Like Chris Hirono is amazing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I feel like they're just
shit.
And he's such a nice dude. Like when we were out in LA,
yeah, for sure.
They had the Takeover LA or whatever show, and he showed up to the GCW show towards the end. Him and Riddle did, and like they're just like I've met Riddle multiple times, and like I couldn't tell you if the guy remembers me or not, but he walks like, "Hey, how you doing, man? I haven't seen you in a while." Like I don't know if he's bullshitting me or not, but like I've met him multiple times. But his family and him, they're the nicest fucking people.
Oh my
and
gosh,
Hero,
his wife,
Ono, whatever you want to call him, like the guy is a fucking saint. Like he's so nice.
Yeah,
so nice. I like calling him Hirono because you get them both.
Yeah,
you get a mix of both worlds.
There you go.
So
all right,
next match. Johnny Gargano defeating Ricochet for the North American Championship. I thought that, to me, was the match of the night. Only because I was completely invested with that shit. Like it was really fucking good. Like I don't want to get technical and oh man, they did this fucking 3 corkscrew moonsault and no, like it was a really good fucking match and it actually had a good story to it. I think it paid off, especially if you've been like paying attention to all the NXTs leading up to it or whatever, to see if he would like go to the dark side, go to the Ciampa way or whatever. So like it was really dope. It was a good match. To me personally, it was my match of the night on that card. Pretty dope shit there. Then obviously we had Shayna Baszler defeating Bianca Belair for the NXT Women's title.
I loved it. I loved every second of it.
Yeah,
I loved
that was
every
a good
single
match.
second of it.
That was a good fucking match.
Especially when Belair like got out of that career for the Clash, the initial one she did. Yeah. I was like, holy shit! Like I was like, oh, it's all Shayna Baszler. Baszler's killing it. She's taking it home again. She ain't losing that title. And Belair whipped her with her hair and sliced her abdomen open. Like what?
Yeah, like that was.
I don't know how I feel about Belair. Like I don't know.
You know what? I wasn't sold on her at first, but and the only reason I wasn't sold is because like I hate how WWE they be like, oh, how they book someone and say that they're undefeated and stuff like that. But we're not dumb. Like I remember her losing the Mae Young Classic. Like I remember that. Like you can't tell me that she's undefeated. And Baszler is such an intimidating person. I can't believe, it's not believable that Bianca Belair would beat her. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and that's absolutely how I felt initially. And then when she was able to stand up out of it, I was like, oh shit, maybe because she is very strong. She's very athletic. She's got a lot of like, I don't want to say spunk and pizzazz because that sounds cheesy as fuck, but like the crowd eats up, they buy whatever she's selling. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, shoot, maybe this is when Baszler goes up or interferes at Rumble or who knows, whatever. But when she knocked her out good, I was just like, all right, this is right.
I think there's been such a progression in women's wrestling in the past 2.5 years, 3 years that I just don't buy into her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there's like I remember when I was in college, I sat down and I watched. I don't know what NXT Takeover was. I think it was one of the first ones, and it was the four-way between like Charlotte and and that and like I watched match, and I was never a fan of women's wrestling really because like it just never felt real to me. Like it just seemed like lazy to me. Like
because it was all tits and ass and bra.
Yeah, exactly. Like
and it was.
Like, but I would watch like.
That's why why I stopped watching wrestling for years, and I've been like an asshole lady mark since I was like 7 years old.
Exactly, but like I would watch the Joshi girls, and they would beat the living piss out of each other. I was like, "Yo, this is women's wrestling." Absolutely. But then I watched that match. I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, that was match of the night easily that entire night."
Yeah, for sure.
And then like, you know, with Belair, I'm just like, it's just my opinion, but like I'm just like, I don't feel like it's a progression for women's wrestling. Like it's media. It's not horrible, but it's not like tits and ass whatsoever. But it's just not like, I don't know. Like when you have so many women that come through that do so well, and then that's the match I get out Takeover. I'm just like, it wasn't horrible. It was, you know, it was solid.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Like I know it seems like you said about like you have to be like cautious of what you put online. Like I just don't like. I feel like if I would say that online, which I'm currently saying online because it's going to go on a podcast, that it wasn't to my favor for women's wrestling, and people might crucify me for that because of the fact that it seems like you have to agree with it just because it's what it is.
Well,
but
look,
it's not that way. It is.
Tony. As a female athlete that is very much involved in the wrestling community, I would never think that. I would be like, okay, it's not his favorite match of the night. And he's not wrong about certain aspects of what he said. He just has a different opinion. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed that match just because I'm a huge, huge, huge fan of women's wrestling.
Yeah, she's a lady mark.
I'm a lady mark for life. But I would never hold it against you for saying, I just wasn't feeling that match. There's a big difference.
But you've seen the internet. The internet is cruel.
Oh yeah, man, dude. Yeah, you got to be careful with that. They'll find out some shit. They'll find out some shit you did 13 years ago and try to get you the fuck out of here.
Thankfully people don't go to Xanga like they could do the fucking what got at Twitter. I don't know if you remember.
Now that you said it, Tone, now you're asking for it, Deppen.
Holy shit. No, but it's crazy. Yeah, like.
I just gotta say, like, just because you're not digging the match doesn't mean you don't support women's wrestling. There's a big, big, big difference.
I know, but not everybody looks at it. A lot of people look at it like just because you didn't initially enjoy it, that you automatically disliked it, and you dislike women's wrestling. And I'll be the first person to admit that like women's wrestling was not my favorite for the longest time because it was just boring to me. It's like it didn't seem real. Like it was just like, hey, I have boobs. I have a butt.
Oh no!
Let me do the Tristatus Rana thing and then take it home. Like I didn't like that. Like I would rather. I want it to feel real. I want like even with wrestling in today of men's wrestling, if these guys are doing a million spots where it just looks too choreographed for my likings, I'm just like it doesn't feel real to me. I don't like it, and that's my opinion.
No, but you know what? I agree with you 100%. I like I said, I stopped watching wrestling because of the Miss Rumble 2000, and so many people cite Royal Rumble 2000 as their favorite Rumble, and it's absolutely my least favorite. Even though there were moments on it that I adored, and like as a lady mark, I was like, "Fuck, I love wrestling." But I will always say, like when they started having like, great, everybody got to see Mae Young's boobs or whatever. It's just like that was the focus of the women then. And it was hard for me to watch as a female athlete, as a fan of wrestling since I was a little girl. I couldn't watch it. I'm like, this is what you think women's wrestling should be? I'm out.
Well, yeah, I want a woman to have some spunk. Like, I think what I like most about my wife is that the fact that, like, if I say something, she'll fucking throw back in my face. She'll come at me. I like that. I don't want a woman to be, like, submissive, be like, well, I guess that's what it's going to be. No, it's not going to be that's what it is. Like, be who you are, stick up for yourself, and, if punch a guy in the face if you have to. I don't care. My mom would punch a guy in the face. So
well, don't tell me that. I'll see you again soon.
I don't care.
But you know what?
It adds.
Yeah, but you know what's crazy? It's like, you know what? I agree with you, but the thing is, I feel like you ain't gotta. Well, I'll say one thing: you ain't gotta worry about fucking having any backlash because it's not like we're like this huge ass podcast, and we're not gonna put some clickbait like Tony Deppen hates women wrestling. Check us out now. Like,
oh shit, I guess I should delete those graphics.
delete that. Yeah, like get that out of here. No, but like, yeah, like no, it's definitely cool, and I can't tell you that you're wrong because you fucking do this. Like, this is your you wrestle. I can't tell, like, I'm not in the ring. I can't tell a wrestler like anything at all. Like, and
also I think what's crucial, again, can I point out, you said that's how you used to feel about women's wrestling and you see it differently now.
Oh yeah. Like I didn't since I do Shikara, we did the main event of night one was the Joshi girls versus Team Australia. I think they're PWE or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the company that came from Australia. And that match was so fucking good.
Right.
And then the next day we sat in and Quackenbush is a very big stickler on asking you what you thought of the show. And he's just like, well, how did everybody feel about the main event? And I raised my hand. I was like, I'm going to be honest. I was like, I've never been huge into women's wrestling. I was like, that match was so fucking good. Like, everything about it, like, everything felt real. There's a great build. Like, it was just fantastic. So it's like, I'm not saying like all, like, from when I started watching wrestling in 92, 93 to 2017, women's wrestling was completely dog shit. That's not what I'm saying. But the vast majority was just, it was sex appeal.
Yeah,
and that doesn't sell me whatsoever. I couldn't care less about some woman with her tits popping out.
About puppies?
Yeah,
Oh,
like it never really appealed to me. I want to see wrestling. Like I used to amateur wrestle back in my youngin' days.
Mm-hmm.
So I really appreciate wrestling, like everything about it, like whether it's, some guys and women rolling to the mat, some guys and women beating the dog shit out of each other. I appreciate wrestling. I don't appreciate sex appeal whatsoever. It's never been something that's clicked to my mind.
Honey, 100% agreed.
Yeah. I agree.
If I want to look at tits and ass, I can do that in plenty other ways.
They invented porn for that reason.
Yeah, Pornhub, YouTube, all that. Yeah. Well, not YouTube. If you can find porn on YouTube, please do not tell me how. But, all right, let's go to the last match because we can stay on this topic all fucking day. But Tommaso Ciampa defeated Aleister Black, aka the new Undertaker, who I think that's who should have fucking retired Undertaker. In a match that was I thought it was really good. I thought that I kind of went into it because I think I picked Tommaso to win. Yep. So because I feel like it's time for Aleister to get called up at some point or whatever. But yeah, it was another great match. Again, told a story, and we got at the end Johnny Gargano and Tommaso together on the ramp. Kind of like everything comes in full circle. When Tommaso attacked Gargano and shit, and they went on their whole fucking story that went on for like a year and a half, damn near 2 years, and now they're like kind of evil together or whatever. So it's kind of dope seeing that. And especially it's dope because like they're smaller guys, like how you were saying earlier, Tony, that WWE, like they were they always got like behind the bigger guys and shit. So this was like the first time we see like guys like Tommaso and Gargano like with titles, and they're considered quote unquote cruiser weights.
Yeah.
So
Johnny's like my size, so he's like 5'9", 5'10". He's not a big guy at all, and I think NXT excels at telling stories in their matches. Yeah. And that's what, like, stories draw people in more than anything. And that's why NXT is so successful. Like, they have the great spots, they have the great moments, but then it's all pulled together with such a fantastic story. And I think that's what really lacks on the mainstream wrestling, like with SmackDown and Raw. Like, they're having really good matches, but they don't have that great story. But NXT always has a great story. Like those takeover shows, every single fucking one of them I have to watch. And they're always like, every match I'm just like, yo, that was a good match. Like, and you always have that person, like every person, like after the NXT, after Raw, before Rumble, before Mania, before all the big four, like they're like, yo, that was better than the main show. Like, I went to WrestleMania last year and I thought that the Takeover New Orleans was better than WrestleMania. And I was there live. So
yeah, shit. Okay, well, let me I'm gonna speed this shit up because obviously we've been talking. It's been like good fucking conversation, but obviously I don't want to keep you on here, all day. Like, at the end of the day, you are a fucking family man, So I'm gonna speed through the Royal Rumble shit a little bit, and then we'll just touch on just whatever at the end. The first match was Bobby Roode and Chad Gable defeating Razor and Scott Dawson, which I don't know how the fuck that even came about, and don't even want to fucking.
Because they asked for their release, probably.
It's crazy. Yeah, all right.
That's all it was. Yeah. Punishment.
Yeah, we're just gonna put you with another random guy.
Is injured.
Yeah, but But then where the fuck is Wilder? Like, why wasn't? Yeah, like I don't get it. Unless he's hurt or some shit. I don't know. Maybe he was taking a shit and they couldn't find him, and whatever, they replaced him. Then we had which I thought was very disappointing to see Nakamura on the pre-show after he won the Royal Rumble last year.
He won the Rumble and
yeah.
he was on the pre-show.
Yeah, and that was
Cesaro won the Andre the Battle Royal the one year, and he was on the pre-show the following year.
Yeah. It's an evil world.
And that motherfucker deserves the world because he's the nicest son of a bitch in the world.
I
was on his last indie show before he got signed to WWE, and he was, because he's I think he's still dating Sarah Del Rey, and she's the trainer down at NXT.
Yeah,
and she's a fucking sweetheart.
Yeah,
like such a sweetheart. And those two, they're on the show together. They were so fucking nice. I'm just like, yo, they deserve the world because they're the nicest and most sincere human beings in the world.
Always thought Claudio needed to have a run with the title, and they dropped the ball with that. But it is what it is. But let me see. Yeah, so Nakamura defeated Rusev for the United States title, which doesn't mean anything nowadays because they're passing the title around like a fucking blunt. And next, we had Buddy Murphy defeating Tozawa Kalisto and Hideo Itami, which I thought was low-key the best match on the fucking card. Low-key, it definitely it was really good, like a really good match. If anyone didn't see it, probably because you thought it was a piss break match or something, like completely wrong. Like this was a very good match.
They've been stepping up their pregame show, like because I remember the 1 year WrestleMania, there's a 4-way tag and it was fucking fantastic. I think it was the Orlando Mania. But my personal opinion with that 4-way, like they had some great fucking spots.
Yeah.
But it felt too contrived for me. Like everything was just like, okay, that looks too planned. Like and that's me looking at that way. That's my mindset in wrestling. Like I'm very picky on stuff because like my style's not that style.
Yeah.
So I watched that like, yo, that was cool as shit. But like you feel like that type of person that always like the but part.
Yeah, I feel you because I'm kind of like I'm very I'm like that with Seth Rollins. Like when he does his dives now, like they're so fucking like soft or whatever, and I'm so used to him going balls to the wall, kind of when he was as Tyler Black or whatever. Like he was just balls to the wall. And I get it. Like you're trying to preserve your health and shit because they wrestle like 295 days a year or whatever, so you can't go crazy. But the spots that would be crazy and rememberable, like you said, like those moments, I can't get that when I can see like purposely like a guy's not going like super hard or going balls to the wall. So I feel you on that. Next we had Asuka defeating Becky Lynch. I thought this was a great match. Them like trading each other's finishers and stuff like that. I thought it was pretty cool.
Asuka's fantastic. Like she's just a badass bitch.
Yeah.
Like,
I thought it was like one of the best matches personally, but also like that finisher that she put out on Becky, she rarely uses that particular way of the Asuka lock, where she does the bridge after she gets a lock set.
It's a great story in wrestling because it's showing you like she couldn't beat her with her ordinary stuff, so she has to go out of her realm to finally beat her. And that's what I liked about it.
That's what I was freaking out about. I was like, oh my God, she bridged the Asuka lock. Like I was screaming it at the top of my lungs. And everybody was looking at me like, what the fuck is this bird screaming? And I'm like, she never uses it. She very rarely uses that specific finish, I thought it was great.
And at this point, on my predictions, I was 0-3. So I didn't know anything what the fuck I was talking about on the last show because everyone that I picked fucking lost. Then this was the first match I actually got the prediction right. The Miz and Shane McMahon defeating The Bar to win the SmackDown titles. I want to go. Look, I love Shane McMahon. I'm pretty sure he's a great guy. He has the worst fucking punches in wrestling. Like,
and the motherfucker's 46 years old. Like,
like. I get it. He did pull out a shooting star press. That was impressive. And I think that's probably the first time I've ever seen him hit that move. Like normally he does it and they move
trash
out the way.
can.
Yeah. Like, so he finally hit it. And I just looked up. Shane is 49 years old, but please stop doing those punches, man. Like
those little baby punches.
Yeah, like stop, dude. Like I get
Well, it
it.
sucks.
And
He's trained in MMA and stuff. He knows what
yeah,
he's doing. Like he could throw. Well, he'd probably knock somebody out, but you
Yeah.
know, like
maybe that's why he's doing those potato punches, then, because he doesn't want to level anybody out.
he's been in
Yeah.
wrestling for how long of his life? He should know how to throw a fake punch.
right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you're around the boys all the time. Shit, man. You go down to NXT, practically, your people run it. But the craziest thing about this match though is that the Miz father was there. And they made it seem like the Miz father is now finally like proud of his son. Like he didn't win the fucking world title.
Yeah, he wasn't proud of his son when he had a baby girl. He wasn't proud of his son when he was on MTV. He wasn't proud of his son during WrestleMania. He wasn't proud of his son during the time he married a really hot woman.
Yeah,
He's
like what the?
Yo, he won the tag titles with
Shane,
the son,
well,
Shane
quote,
McMahon, Vince McMahon's
the best
son.
in the world. He's the best
like
in the
now
world.
I'm proud of him. Like that made no sense. I don't. I saw that. I was like, wait, what's going on now?
Yeah.
Like, why is Mrs. Dad here?
I still feel like WWE dropped the ball with the whole Shane best in the world thing. They should have brought out like fake CM Punk shirts, but with just Shane McMahon. I don't know. Maybe I can't. I gotta get a job with WWE writing some shit. So so then the next match we had Ronda Rousey defeating Sasha Banks to retain the Raw Women's title. I thought this was probably Ronda's best match. Like she did really good, and I would say she's one of the only wrestlers like that I've seen that like come into like a new sport or whatever and actually do really good. Like every match that she's done, she's actually gotten better. I wouldn't say on the promo side, and I'll get to that on Raw.
Yeah, her promo's garbage.
But yeah, like her wrestling is really 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 good. So kudos to her.
She did well at Mania and everything. Like, so it's not like she's digressing as a wrestler. It's just her promo skills are garbage.
She's done well in every match in the ring until she gets a microphone in her hand. And I just wish that they would, supposedly Paul Heyman like kind of took her under his wing and is writing all of her promos, but it's like, why is he trying to make her be so verbose when he should just make her be dead silent and deadly?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, beat the shit out of people.
Yeah, and it's crazy because the shit that Becky did, and we'll get to it on SmackDown, is the same shit that Ronda Rousey should be doing. Like, if someone talks shit to me, I should just punch him in the fucking face, and that's it. Like, no words or whatever, But that's, yeah, I know. She's a Charlotte, Mark. But all right, so we get to the women's Royal Rumble. I don't have everything that fucking happened, and plus it'll take forever. Only noticeable things I would talk about is
Liv got knocked out first. Becky got out last.
I want to talk about Lacey Evans, okay?
All
right, look. First of all, and this is just the views and opinions on this show are those of the host and the host themselves. It doesn't reflect like any guest or whatever. People know that I think that this Lacey Evans character is kind of racist a little bit, kind of the Southern. I get plantation vibes from it.
Is that the woman with the sailor hat or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay,
she's the classy lady, Tony Deppen.
Yeah, she looked like a sailor.
Yeah.
She looked like a safe Marshmallow Man, skinny.
All right, now I get, they had her enter the Rumble at number 2, and this is kind of like her showcase of being like, okay, this is it, like she's coming up. But she, and I hate saying this shit because I don't want, females that listen to the show like, oh, Pat's been, this and that. No, she fucked up a lot of spots.
Yeah, like I was like I kept watching like, yo, she's really fucking sloppy.
Yeah,
like that's all I kept thinking. Yeah, I was like, wow, she's been in for the ring for like 5 minutes. She's already blown 3 spots. Like,
yeah, like it was bad. Like for that to be, because you got to think like a lot of people that's their first time actually seeing like Lacey Evans, and this is like you blew the kip up, and then she blew the drop kick spot, and then there was another thing she did too, and I'm just like, oh brother, this girl stinks. Like,
yeah, she did not do well. She shouldn't have been that early. In my personal opinion, she should have been later, where she came in, just hit her quick spots and get eliminated. But like, being second, where like the entire view was on her, like that wasn't good for her.
They're obviously very, very hot for her because they've been pushing her on every episode, subtly in the back or having her come out. And then she came out and like kind of broke up Alexa's announcement, which Alexa's like their female bread and butter right now. So the fact that they put her in to shit talk Alexa, if that doesn't tell you that they're hot for her, I don't know.
Well, she's she's an attractive lady. They're gonna try to push her to the moon and back. But Kairi Sane, in my personal opinion, is the best when it comes to women's wrestling, and for NXT. And when she came out, she did fantastic. That's just me being completely biased because I love Japanese women.
Yeah, that's true. So do I. I'm in that same boat. So, but yeah, like it's
Point being is that's why they brought her out at 2 to parade their new ladies. She's a Marine, she's a mom, she's a badass, she's classy.
Yeah,
like that's why they had her out so early. But was it a good idea? I don't think so.
No. But yeah, so I'm trying to think of any notable other stuff. Of course, Candice LeRae was in the Rumble.
Did you see the video of her nieces watching her enter to the Rumble?
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Dude,
like I saw that.
Awesome.
Like that's real cool.
There was 3 points. There was 3 points where I legit got teary-eyed because I'm that guy. Candice LeRae coming out, and when I realized that she was wearing the ring gear that her nieces drew for her, that blew my mind. Cool. Like just seeing her in a WWE ring is like mind-blowing, period.
That's cool. Yeah.
And then of course Mustafa Ali, when he was out, Prince Mustafa Ali, oh my god, love him so much. And then when Nia came out in the men's, I was like, oh my god, she's the first person to ever be in both.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which like to go into that, like a lot of people are like shitting on the fact that she got beat up by men, but like if you look at it this way, like it took 3 men with their finishers to take her out. Doesn't that make her look really strong? But isn't that making her look extremely strong that she took 3 men's finishers to be eliminated? Like that's absolutely. Like I didn't understand. Everybody's like shitting on her. Like she took 3 finishers from men to get her eliminated. Like it wasn't like she ran out bushwhacker Luke style and got tossed over in 0.5 seconds.
And she didn't have to make out with anybody. Much love to Beth Phoenix, but that's how she eliminated Great Khali.
Yeah, she had to sit on anybody's face, like it was just literally like, come in, be a badass, and she turned on a guy, like, like she told Rey Mysterio do 619. He goes through and she whops him with a clothesline. Like
and if Randy Orton, who I imagine probably just kind of is Randy Orton and doesn't care about anybody else really. Clandy Orton. If he's bumping off of her, I'm like, okay, if that dude who really doesn't give a fuck and does whatever he wants and gives people his dick in their hands, like,
oh yeah, that's right.
If he's taking bumps off of her, like, why are you thinking that she's the victim here? Like, just because you're a female wrestling man doesn't mean you're a victim.
It's just the internet deciding what is wrong and what is right. Like, they want intergender wrestling, but when intergender wrestling comes into play, they're like, no, that's really wrong. No, it's not. Like, it'd be different if she walked in and they all she just like slid in the ring and everybody just beat the shit out of her and threw her out. There's a different story there. But like, she literally comes in, clears some house, and then she ends up taking 3 finishers and then finally get eliminated by 3 guys. Like, she didn't get eliminated by 1 guy. It was 3 guys. Like, come on.
What's crazy
is that she was already in a Rumble earlier.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
She looks so strong.
But what's crazy is that like the same people that was shitting on Nia Jax being in this, in the men's Rumble are the same ones that was cheering at All In when Jordynne Grace fucking gorilla press Brian Cage.
Yeah.
So it's like, what the fuck,
It's
like
because it wasn't WWE.
Right. That's exactly, like, it wasn't WWE. So neckbeards, it's a love and hate. That's why, like, going back to like reaching out to you, like, I know it's love hate with like the fans and stuff like that, because I can admit some of these wrestling fans are fucking
Hey, watch that.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, yeah, my bad. Okay, I'll censor that
stupid.
Out. They're fucking stupid. Yeah, like, they're stupid and they're just inconsiderate. So
they're just about, like, they think their opinion's right. And it also stems like to a political side. Like, they're gonna think what they think is always right, but then when something goes against to the grain that they don't think is right, it's automatically wrong, even though it's the same fucking thing. Like, it's just different sides. That's all it is. And it's just, it gets to the point, like, I see things on Twitter. I'm just like, oh my god, will you please just shut the fuck up? Like,
well, everybody thinks they know how to win the game until they.
I understand, I understand the intergender wrestling thing, like, and I don't mind it. Like, I wish I wrestled more women. It'd be cool. But holy fuck, every single person's posting on Twitter like, intergender wrestling, this. Shut the fuck up. Like, you don't need to beat a dead horse. Like, we understand. Like,
we get it.
Every wrestler doesn't need to post about intergender wrestling's good for wrestling, or every fan doesn't need to post about it, because I don't personally care about your opinion. I don't. Like, it's just like, it's blowing my mind that every single person thinks that their opinion matters. Like, you have your opinion. That is great. I understand. I completely understand that.
Yeah,
but
for
to act
sure.
like your opinion is the only opinion that matters in this entire world, and then it's like, and then some people use it as a crutch to gain followers or like likes on it.
Yeah,
It's like
trolls. Yeah,
I know wrestlers. I know how they are, and I know some of them. They just say shit just to get somebody to like their status or like their tweet. That's all it is. Like it's all a bullshit facade.
yeah,
That's
yeah, for sure.
I could go on for
Well,
hours about things like
except
that.
for Facade, he's not bullshit. I like him. He's
Oh, I
wonderful.
love Facade, and I love Facade and I love Danny. They're two great people. Facade, Danny's his
They're amazing.
girlfriend. They're both fantastic people, but like the
Yeah,
the
they're
other
fantastic.
Facade is just like, come on, like
Yeah,
I
Bullshit
could,
Facade, not the good Facade.
yeah, it's like I
yeah,
Not
could
the
see
neon
through
blonde.
I could see through your bullshit. Just
yeah,
quit it, please. Just keep your opinion to yourself, please.
yeah. So speaking of Danny, we're going to talk about Daniel Bryan defeating AJ Styles. That was a
Wah,
whack
wah.
ass segue. Yeah, yeah. He defeated AJ Styles in for the championship. You know what? It was a great match. Once again, placement in the card. I don't think people were invested in this match, but it was a good match. Daniel Bryan won, and I think that was the other prediction that I had right. So we go on from that and we go to Brock Lesnar defeating Finn Balor. Surprisingly, not that Finn Balor was gonna fucking win, but he got a lot of offense in, and Brock was like really like selling for him. Like it was actually a good match for it to go just 10 minutes. Like it was good, and it had that like those moments where you thought like, okay, damn, Finn Balor might put like if I was just some dumbass that didn't watch wrestling for the last like 30, 40 years or whatever, I would think that Finn Balor would win. But of course, Brock beat him with the submission, and then beat the shit out of him after the match. Because you got to make it look believable. He took like 2 F5s or whatever the case may be.
Which is good because it's gonna set up the way that they might put the Mania match like into play, like that the fact that Brock was shown that he is not invincible, that it's going to set up towards him possibly losing to whoever he wrestles, which I don't know what that's going to be like, but that's my opinion when you start to show chips in the armor that it might be time for him to take out.
I mean, and don't get me wrong, like Brock Lesnar, he's been a big part of like the WWE for like somewhat, he went away for a little bit, but like his first run was incredible. But
he's a badass.
Yeah, like he's legit, I just feel like, he's, it's time to get that belt off of him. Like they need to have someone that's there like all the time with that belt. Like don't, like Brock, I think he does maybe 5 matches a year or whatever, and and then he goes back home and throws hay in Minnesota and shit, like I get it, but yeah, I think it's time for him to, kind of, pass that fruit roll up to someone else and had them carry the strap or whatever. And then of course the last match was Seth Rollins winning the match. We kind of went over like all the crazy stuff, but I do want to add, because I am like, a black guy, I gotta bring it up. Man, a lot of people of color got eliminated very fast. They got eliminated like fast as shit. Like
I saw that. I have that tweet saved on my phone.
Yeah, like I was looking, I'm like, dude, like Titus O'Neil was out quick. No Way Jose was out. Jinder Mahal was out. Even Lashley was in there for like fucking 6 seconds, and he's Intercontinental Champion. I'm thinking like, hold on, man, like what the fuck is going on? Like the only people I can exclude from this list is obviously Mustafa Ali, Nia Jax, and maybe Apollo Crews. But for the most part, if you were fucking black or Indian, yeah, you didn't have a shot. I mean, Kurt Hawkins was in there longer than a lot of those guys combined.
Did you ever think that it might just get people? WWE did to get people to talk about them?
That, you know what, I thought it was true, and like my thing is like I'm so like I feel like WWE, like they pander to like whatever's like the flavor of the month. So for example, like when it's Black History Month, we're going to see a whole bunch of vignettes of fucking Titus O'Neil going out there talking and just doing shit. And the same thing like with the Breast Cancer Awareness Month, they have them out there with the survivors and shit like that. Like I get it, you know what I'm saying, but oh man, it's tough. I don't want to say I get it. I can't even remember the last like African American like heavyweight champion. I don't count Mark Henry because that was a WCW strap and ACW strap, and I don't count The Rock because he's not like full, you know. So it's like I don't recall, but I get it. You know, it is what it is. I still, and it's crazy because I always said I thought Apollo Crews would be the first African American champion. That's not happening. That's not happening at all. Maybe Velveteen Dream, maybe, but not. I don't know. I don't think Apollo has a shot. But yeah, so Seth Rollins won the fucking Royal Rumble, and that set up Monday Night Raw.
In his Bears gear, I should say. In his Bears gear.
Yeah, he did have on Bears gear. I didn't put those two and two together. Holy shit!
Well, you gotta throw. That's the only way they're gonna win.
Yeah, that is true, man. Oh, come on now, come on, man.
I'm a Steelers fan. I'm a Steelers fan, so sorry.
I get it.
Had to.
I understand.
I wasn't rooting for the Eagles. I can tell you that much.
Oh yeah.
Living in Pennsylvania, you have to deal with a lot of shitty Eagles fans.
Yeah. Oh man, they're the worst.
Oh my god, it was the fucking worst week of my life. Having to hear about that.
Oh man. So Seth Rollins wins the fucking Royal Rumble, and that sets up, of course, Monday Night Raw, where Seth Rollins comes out and points to the WrestleMania sign because they got to do that. That brings out Dean Ambrose. He talks a whole bunch of shit, and that brings out Papa H. He comes out. Him and Dean, they kind of look like they tease like they're gonna have a match and shit. They start the match with Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose loses clean. He sits in the ring and kind of like he's trying to like talk to the fans, but Nia Jax comes out and pretty much attacks him. But look, she gave a weak ass forearm to Dean Ambrose, and it didn't look believable. And he kind of just shrugged it off, like she hit him in the back, and he's like, "Oh, whatever," and just walked away. So I hope that's not the last that we see of Dean Ambrose. Like I don't want that to be like his last like memory of WWE. Him getting like a weak ass forearm to the back and him just walking up the ramp, and that was it.
Maybe that's part of the program.
Yeah, that is. Hey,
it was super
right.
Awkward live. I'm not gonna lie. That part,
yeah, that's right. Like, you were there. I keep forgetting. Yeah, like, yeah, you were there. Like, what?
My opinion is like, the WWE's been in business for how many years? They may not always do the best for business on like that very moment of like a segue into something, but like they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like that's the way I look at it. Like, and I don't want to get it deep into it because I always feel like if I give that type of opinion towards what's going on, that like some wrestlers are like, yo, what a fucking dumbass, or what a mark, like it's hard to sometimes not be a fan because like you want to be a fan. But you don't want somebody to come out and just be like, "Yo, you sound like a fucking mark saying that stuff."
I'm like, dude, we're all marks, dude.
Yeah.
How the fuck do you think we got into this shit?
A mark is not a derogatory word to me whatsoever.
Deppen, I adore you. That's exactly what I've been saying all along. That's why I'm like, I'm a lady mark. I don't give a fuck. I love wrestling.
What irritates me are the people that just like they think,
too cool for school.
They're pretentious about their opinion when it comes to wrestling. It's like, just shut up. Like, enjoy what you enjoyed, and that's that. Like, if I'm a wrestler, I want to talk about fucking wrestling, I'm gonna fucking talk about wrestling because I get dropped on my head, and I will probably short-live my life by getting dropped on my head. And I'm not doing this because it's fucking the coolest thing in the world to get dropped on my head. I'm doing it because I've loved wrestling for 26 years of my life,
Right.
Yeah.
So you can't sit there and tell me to not talk about it and not enjoy it. Like, I've had people say to me before, I'm just like, okay, shut the fuck up. Like,
shut up.
Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Let me say what I want to say. I don't come at you when you talk about politics or some bullshit drama. Just leave me alone.
Yeah. So the next match, Nia Jax and Tamina, who's 41 and still going, and I feel like WWE.
Wait, Tamina's 41?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit! I thought she was like 30.
Yeah, 41 with 3 kids.
Holy
shit. Yeah, like she's and I felt like WWE dropped the ball with her, but they defeated Alexa Bliss and Mickie James to qualify for the Women's Tag Team Championship Elimination Chamber match. I kind of knew that was going to happen with Nia Jax being like super hot right now. So
and also Alexa just coming back from her injuries. I don't know how much they're going to want her have that, put her in that situation.
Yeah, I get it. Baron Corbin defeated Kurt Angle. Look, man, love Kurt, but you got to stop wrestling, dude. Like,
yeah, Kurt's old and he has bad necks and bad everything.
It's done. But you know what's so crazy about Kurt Angle is maybe three. All right, so he went into the Hall of Fame last year. A year before that, so 2 years ago, he had a great match with Rey Mysterio at Woke Culture Wrestling overseas, and it was like a great, it was like TNA. All right, my opinion only. This was like, it reminded me of like Pillhead Kurt Angle, like when he was on pills. Like, I feel like that was the best Kurt Angle. Like, if anyone,
Angle's the GOAT. Like, yeah, like everybody says.
Yeah, like if you ever seen, and obviously, you know, he's from Pennsylvania as well. Yep. So like, yeah, but like Pillhead Kurt in TNA was probably the greatest wrestler of all time.
Nah, like, man, him and Kurt Angle, Rey Mysterio, 2002 SummerSlam. Did you ever see that match?
Oh yes.
Dude, that's it was the opener. It was so good. Him and Shawn Michaels at Mania.
What was that? 20,
22, 21? It was in that realm.
I remember
I didn't really pay attention to that, but then I rewatched it because I had the whole anthology, and I couldn't go to sleep because that match was so fucking good. Like, everything about it was fantastic. Like, Angle's one of my favorite wrestlers ever, easily.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like, but yeah, he got to stop wrestling.
Oh yeah, he needs to be done.
Yeah, just go home. He has like
needs him to be done.
9 kids
Family
now.
Needs him to be done.
Yeah, just go.
He had that match with the Shield. Like, he was part of the Shield. That was
oh my god,
horrible.
Dude, I was there at because I had like, you know, because of roller derby, I have a crap ton of miles, so I'm like, well, I might as well use them and go up to Minnesota, super cheap. Basically $12 round trip to do it. So I went to that TLC and I was like, Asuka versus Emma. I don't know why, but I feel like this might be the only time I'm going to see Emma on a main roster card, which she got let go like 2 days later or the next day.
Yeah.
And watching him come out with the Shield, I was like, oh no.
That was bad. That was such a horrible. Oh.
Yeah, it was a bad image. It's kind of like seeing Kurt like that was like seeing Michael Jordan in that Wizards jersey.
In the 45 jersey?
No. Even after that, when he retired the second time and came back and played for the Washington Wizards, like he was way past his prime. Like it was just like, oh man, like dude,
it's like 2002 really? Or something like that. He did that.
Yeah, like it was bad. So yeah, of course Baron Corbin beat the shit out of him. Then we go into Finn Balor, Bobby Lashley and Leo Rush segment where they just beat the shit out of Balor. So I guess what I wanted to happen the whole time, I wanted a Lashley versus Lesnar at WrestleMania. We're not fucking getting, because we're probably going to get another David and Goliath. Like, and I'm not a very religious person, so I don't know the Bible or any of that stuff, you know. Like, so it's whatever. Like, I'm whatever. I don't care about that match, and it's crazy because like I gotta root for the black guy, but like they're making it hard for me to do. The Revival, they defeated Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder's. Obviously, I guess it's like throwing them a bone, like, hey, I know you guys want to leave, but we'll just feed you Zack Ryder, who hasn't been on Raw.
They denied their request.
Yeah. So now they got to
read that today.
Yeah, they got to ride it out, you know. And Eric Bischoff made a good point, because I'm like a big, like, you know, when I'm not doing this shit, I'm listening to all wrestling podcasts, and he pointed out on his show 83 weeks, he's like, if I was Vince McMahon, I'm not letting nobody go.
Nope,
like
I wouldn't either.
Yeah, like I'm not like fuck that. Like
my question is, why are people asking for release when it like most of the contracts kind of are up around the same time ish? Like, just ride it out for another 6 months. Don't fucking say shit. Be nice as can be, and just be like, ride it out.
It's because the 90-day complete clause. That's what it is.
Yeah,
like they want to be released now because then they'll be able to wrestle certain places that are going to be running in May. That's what it is.
Especially Double or Nothing. Yeah,
like that's all it is. Yeah. Like Michael Bennett. Like if I were the WWE, I wouldn't release him.
All right, now before I get into this, okay, like once again, these are my views and my opinions and shit. And I was talking to a buddy about this, and you know, he got kind of like pissed at what I said, but I'm like, dude, it's the truth. Okay, so first of all, you have like, you know, Mike, he shows up, and look, there's nothing like cool about being addicted to pills. But look, he was addicted to pills when he came to WWE, and he was out of shape, right? And then Maria gets, pregnant, which happens, like life happens. Like, so she was going off of the air too. So they was basically sitting around for like a year, and he was, getting sober and stuff like that. And that's all great. But you can't just come back and be like, hey, I want a push when you've been like sitting around, like, obviously taking care of like personal stuff. Like, you gotta go through the motions. Like, that's with any job. Like, I know, like, if you worked at a fucking factory and you got hurt and you sat home for 3-4 months and shit, like, like shit like that happens. You can't just like go in and ask for a release when like you really haven't shown anything. And I'm surprised that I heard that WWE Network pulled their collection. And I'm like, what fucking collection do Mike and Maria have on the network? All they've done is kiss at the top of the ramp.
The fact that they denied him is great to me. Like, it's just showing WWE's not gonna, like, you're not gonna fuck us over. Like, we'll just pay you out, and that's simple as that. Like, because if I looked at it from a business perspective, I'd be like, you know what? Like, you can't. We hired you because we thought you were something, and you literally made yourself disabled from being on our program. So, and then you come back and say, well, guess what? I want to be released. No, it's not gonna work that way because we know what you're trying to do.
Yeah, and like
there's that.
Yeah, I didn't want to be like a dickhead when I said that, but I'm like, dude, like, like
it's the way I think.
Did you guys see how Maria went on her Instagram and said we did not ask to be released?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, what I don't buy that.
I mean, I don't buy it either.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I get it. Like, you got to kind of like throw some water on the fire, kind of, smother it out a little bit.
It's probably something. It's going to build to something for them then, because they're like, you know what? Since you guys did that and it got released, we might as well just kind of run with it.
Right. Well, yeah, like, I mean, that might be the best thing because he did lose on 205 Live this week. So,
like, run with it, see where it goes.
So, going back to Raw, we had Elias turn heel again out of no fucking where, and beats the shit out of Jeff Jarrett and Road Dogg.
When Road Dogg came out, the woman behind me got so excited she kicked over her entire purse, all her money, all her credit cards, her house keys, everything like rolled right down the aisle.
That's crazy. Fucking Road Dogg got a pop like that.
I would too.
Yeah, holy shit. That is dope.
I was just surprised, but man, she like said every single second of what he was saying. It was pretty intense. I was like, whoa, did she realize that she just kicked over her entire everything?
That is cool. Shout out to Road Dogg. He hasn't blocked me yet, so that's that too. So, because I'm kind of critical on him. Some of the shit they be putting together on SmackDown, some of that shit's it's been good lately. So yeah, they got beat up with guitars and shit, and Elias turned heel out of nowhere. The Riot Squad, they defeated Natalya and Dana Brooke, who is actually getting better in the ring to qualify for another spot in the Elimination Chamber for the tag team titles. Then we go to Ronda Rousey with that horrible.
I heard about that. I didn't watch that, but everybody said it's bad.
Oh my!
It was so uncomfortable. I haven't watched it.
Even the local radio station I listened to, they like wrestling, and they brought up how bad it was.
It was bad, and it was because she was rattled. Obviously, the crowd,
it was so uncomfortable.
The crowd was so behind Becky Lynch, dude. It reminded me of like when Austin, like at his height, 99, 98 Austin, like they were just chanting Becky. And it kind of threw her off, and she stumbled. She was stuttering. Like, it was so bad, they definitely sent Bailey out to kind of get what I'm saying? Bailey. Yeah. They bailed her out. Yeah, they bailed her out of that, and then they had the match. And it was actually a good match. But Ronda Rousey, like, won and shit. And then, obviously, Becky Lynch comes out, throws up the 4 horsemen symbol, or 4 horsewomen symbol, and Bailey does it as well. And then cut like this, promo on her. But I will say the second promo that Ronda Rousey did was really good, and that's the intensity that I need. Like, I guess maybe because she had the match and like she was all like riled up and shit like that. It was very intense, and I like that one. But yeah, that first promo, that, man, it was up there with that "This Is Your Life" moment with Alexa Bliss and Bayley. Yeah, like it was that bad. Then we had Braun Strowman defeating Drew McIntyre. I don't know what the fuck they're doing with that, because Drew's supposed to be like the next guy in line, but he's still losing. And at the end of the night, Seth Rollins come out. He's talking about picking his opponent for WrestleMania. Out comes Brock. And of course Brock F5 Seth Rollins, and he still didn't make a decision, but it's kind of like
he F5'd him like 6 times.
Yeah, so I guess like Brock made the decision for him, like, all right, which I think would be good. I kind of wanted to see Seth versus Daniel Bryan because it's just a little bit different. But I'm with it. Fuck it. So I think a lot of people don't remember, but he had a great match with Brock and John Cena. I think it was 2015 Royal Rumble, the triple threat. That was a good fucking match. But like I said, so it looks like so far it's set that Seth Rollins will be taking on Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 35. Now we go to SmackDown. Let's run through this real quick. Clusterfuck at the beginning. Not the beginning. Becky Lynch and Charlotte had their promo. Charlotte Becky Lynch punched Charlotte, and then they had like a brawl and shit. Typical shit. R-Truth defeated Shinsuke Nakamura, who just won the title 2 days before, and now they give it to R-Truth, which I'm happy about. Number one, because he's black. Number two, because R-Truth has been he's in incredible shape, and he's been killing it for years. And he was one of those people I thought like that should have had a run with the title around like 2011, 2012 when he was doing that hill shit with him smoking a cigarette.
Well, he's been there since fucking. He used to with the Road Dogg. He used to rap in like 1999, 2000.
Yeah, get rowdy.
Fucking WWE New York.
Yeah.
Did you guys see his when he was helping out Jack Swagger?
Yeah, and my opinion on that though is like I get Jack Swagger won, but dude, he fucking fought someone that fucking worked at Home Depot. Like,
yeah, that guy looks like shit.
Yeah, that dude definitely look like he installs cable.
Hey, but he's also got more wins than CM Punk does.
That is true. So
yeah, whatever.
Yeah, Phil.
Best in the world.
Phillip Brooks. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So R-Truth wins in which looks like a botch because once he pins him, they're still like wrestling, and the ref's like, no, you won. And then that brings out Rusev. He wants a title shot, so they have one right there, and fucking R-Truth beats Rusev as well to retain the United States Championship. But I see why they did that, because I guess they need more tag teams, because Rusev and Nakamura become a team, I guess, so we'll see how the League of Nations 2 do. Then we had it never happened. Rey Mysterio was supposed to take on Samoa Joe, but Andrade came out and tagged Mysterio and did the Three Amigos, kind of like mimicking Eddie Guerrero. I want these motherfuckers to fight until fucking WrestleMania 37.
And then have a WrestleMania. If they have a WrestleMania match, it'll be fantastic.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like they've been putting on clinics for the last month or so. The 2 out of 3 falls match like a week ago was incredible. Then we had I guess they were doing like a number one contendership for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. Because Shane and Miz, they had like their celebration and shit, and of course Mr. Miz was there, and hugging his son and telling him how proud he was for being a fucking SmackDown champion, not the world champion, but you're the SmackDown champion, so I love you. The Usos, they took on.
Hey, he liked the blue brand.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, they're good nowadays. The Usos, they took on the Bar, the New Day, and Heavy Machinery, which was a surprise, like that they were in the match. Pretty dope. The Usos, they defeated first of all, Heavy Machinery took out the New Day, so that was like good. Like, look, I know I'm rooting for everybody black, but like I think the New Day had their run with the with the straps and all that shit. Like anything that they touch has been gold. Like obviously they're a merchandise like gold mine, because obviously they got people fucking buying boxes of cereal and pancake mix and all types of crazy shit, but I feel like it's time for somebody else to get like a run with it, or someone just a little bit better. So Heavy Machinery eliminated them. The Bar eliminated Heavy Machinery, and then the Usos eliminated the Bar to go on to take on Shane McMahon and The Miz at Elimination Chamber. So that should be a good fucking match. And that was it for SmackDown. That was it. Like Val, I don't have any NXT like fucking results, because really, they just all they did was just show like the matches from the pre-show of
it's just a recap show for the most part.
So we don't have to do that. We don't have to talk about it.
Did you watch Walter chop that guy from NXT UK?
Dude, I saw the devastation afterwards. I was like,
dude, that was one chop.
Yes.
Did
Holy
you ever
shit.
see PCO's chest after him and Walter?
Yes. Oh
Oh
my
my
god, it
god.
looked like ground beef,
Ugh.
dude. Like man, dude, Walter is definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with on the UK NXT, and that's crazy because nothing against like NXT UK, but it's just their time slot is at a very weird time, so I can't
Yeah.
really watch it like I want to. But Walter makes me want to go over there and see like, okay, what the fuck he's gonna do, because
Well,
he's a
on
big
the
fucking guy.
upside, it is on the network, so you can watch it 24 hours a day.
Yeah, that's true.
You just won't
That's
be able to
true.
see it live, and it might not always fit into your personal schedule. But
Yeah.
it's like I didn't get to watch it because I ended up having to work during this polar vortex, and we don't have the capability for me to put the network on at work. Otherwise, I would have.
Yeah.
But it's NXT UK is really good every week, and it's really exciting to see the UK crowds just getting very much behind or against whoever's in the ring. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I watched that today. I know the UK crowd from friends that I've worked over that they like to have a song for every single person that wrestles.
Every
So
single person.
like it's always fun
And
to watch. And
absolutely.
Walter's a really nice guy, and he's weird. He's like because you wouldn't think because like how massive he is. He's a vegan. Like
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the guy's like 3,000 feet tall, and
Yeah.
like somebody's like yo he's a vegan. It's like wait what? It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
like I just
Great.
expected him to like eat meat raw.
Yeah, he definitely gives off that. Yeah, he definitely gives off that vibe, like he, just eats, like he just eats the animal with the fur still on it. Yeah, like, but yeah, dude, like, it was a long fucking week, man, and I definitely, man, Tony, I definitely appreciate you doing this show. Like I said, I've been reaching out to like guys, and I get, like I said, the fucking guys that's like their shit don't stink, like, and it's like, dude, we were talking earlier, like, dude, like, you don't have shit to do until April, dude. You can't give me like just 40 minutes of your time or whatever just to like kind of put yourself over, and
Or 2 hours.
yeah, or
Yeah.
2 hours, like, and I remember I had one guy, I'm not gonna say his name, but like, yeah, he wanted me to like pay him like a booking fee. I'm like, dude, you're not taking a fucking bump. Like, what the fuck is like, dude, you're smoking cock if you think I'm going to like pay you, like, like whatever. But I get it because, like I said, I'm in like in the music industry, and yeah, I want to be paid for my services too. But at the same time, I want to use this platform to give people who I think are super fucking cool and super dope, just another a chance for people to kind of get to know them and be relatable. Because like I said, on Twitter, like you say what you say and what you mean, but it's still kind of hard to read you. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And like I said,
Like it's
I
all
didn't
like exposure for me. That's all the way I look at it.
yeah, like I don't, like dealing with wrestlers, like you never know what you're gonna get. Like there's 95% of people that are like super dope and cool, and all the wrestlers that I met have been amazing. But then it's like that five that's like, like they're like Virgil, I want fucking,
Trust,
like dude,
I've met
like,
some shit stains in wrestling, so I completely understand. Like they're not everybody's cool as shit. Like it happens. So
you know, and like I said, man, you're like, you've been killing it for a while, and like I said, I'm pretty sure, you got like fucktards. That's a good word. I'll say that. I'll edit out the other one that I said earlier, but like I'm pretty sure you got like a whole bunch of
Goofballs.
fucking
Goofballs.
goofballs and neckbeards that either like. All right, I guess I got one last question. Like, have any like a person come in your DM like threaten you like some shit because of some shit you did at a show? Like, have you had like any like crazy encounters with like DMs of people like just talking shit or
not threaten me, but I've had people come into my DMs like men sexually.
oh
It's
man,
it's
that's like
really
Jordan
weird.
Grace. It's like Jordan Grace, like she has like
Yeah,
fucking
well, I
men.
have guys that come in. Like a guy's like, "Yo, money's no option. Can we go on webcams?" I was like, "You can fuck right off, dude." Like,
You're like, I'm married to my wife.
Yeah,
well, this guy's like, "Money's no option. I have so much money." Blah blah. I was like, "Yo, that's really cool and all,
yeah, it's
but
cool.
how about
Like,
you just fuck right off?" Like,
that is
that's
crazy.
weird. Like, there's a market out there. Some guys take advantage of me. I'm not that type of person because like I have my college degree and stuff like that. And I want to work in like the government. I don't want to come back and have somebody like, yo, there's a nude picture you jerking off because some guy screen capped it, you know, and I made $1,000 off it. I don't want that whatsoever in my life.
That's smart. That
Like,
is
that's not me. I know
yeah,
some guys don't care, but I do.
Yeah,
yeah.
well,
I've heard
because
some
at the
shit.
end of the day, you might have to have another job other than wrestling, and you don't want to
Exactly.
ruin any chances that you would have to do so.
Yeah,
And
this
that's the
is
way I look at it.
yeah,
I'll just be a person with some form of morals.
yeah, and this is definitely like the cancel like era.
Yeah.
Like they're just looking for shit, you know. Like that's why I gotta kind of be cool because I don't want nobody from fucking high school to be like, yeah, I remember Pat, like he did this, and I was like, you know, but yeah, man, like dude, once
What did you
again,
do in high school? Smoke a lot of weed? I mean, come on.
yeah, I did do that, yeah, and it's crazy.
Don't
Like
worry about it.
I feel weird, man. I haven't smoked in so long. Like I don't know what's wrong with me. Cause like, you know, Tony on this show, like I was the one that was getting high, like all for the whole 2 hours. And now I'm just like sober as shit. And I'm looking at my Xbox and my PlayStation trying to figure out what the fuck I want to do with my life for the rest of the night or whatever. But dude, once again, like I said, I totally appreciate you doing this, man, because you definitely didn't have to do this, and you know we're still trying to like try out this new format with bringing on like wrestlers and let them like shoot the shit with us and shit like that. Because like I said, there's not that many podcasts where they let like just wrestlers be fans for just a minute, you know.
It's normally just, hey, where'd you wrestle? Where'd you get trained? Favorite match? What's your ambitions? And then go home. That's normally what it is.
Kind of like the shit I did at the beginning of the show, you know. But I just wanted people to know, like, you know, who you
It's
were,
an
man.
introduction, but like normally nobody ever lets you be a fan. It's just like,
Well, and that's
well,
what's
who's your
really
favorite wrestler? And that's about it.
that's what I think is really important to both Patrick and I because we like love wrestling so much, but he's, you know, a music producer, I do roller derby and I do ring announcing and backstage correspondent work for wrestling, and it's like so we like work in these fields kind of, but we also
Yeah.
just want to be like, hey, dude or lady dude, like what makes you want to be a fan, and like how do you feel about this match? And it's just kind of neat to get the people that live and breathe this every day in various ways. Like we've interviewed refs and wrestlers, and I'm hoping to get a couple of managers on, and I want to talk to other correspondents, you know.
Yeah.
It's just neat so that people that are wrestling fans like us can realize that, yeah, wrestlers can also be wrestling fans. It's crazy.
Wrestlers are too afraid to be wrestling fans because they're afraid of the judgment that they'll get from other wrestlers. Because, you know, like I've said a few times that like you'll give your opinion on wrestling and it's just like, oh well, you're a fucking mark. You look like a douchebag for seeing that stuff, and it's like I don't want that because like it makes me not want to watch wrestling because then I can't give my opinion because like I'll watch them it's like, oh, I want to say this but I know I can't say it.
Honestly, for
Yeah.
me, as a fan of sports and sports entertainment and entertainment, like I would honestly, if I heard this, I would want to go to every match you have. Like I'm already a fan of yours, and now I'm even more sold because it's like, oh yeah, he's just a regular dude that does pretty cool shit that a lot of other people couldn't and a lot of other people wouldn't.
Yeah.
And
And
there's
definitely
absolutely nothing wrong with that.
yeah, definitely the next time you're in Chicago, I won't be afraid to fucking come up to you and talk to you, man. Cause like I said, man, I got those vibes last time when, you know, like I said, GCW. I was just like, oh man, I don't want to, you know, like he just wrestled, man. Like you was literally like sitting there with your tights and some socks on.
Yeah,
And
I do that because the fact that I have the Clark Kent effect of wrestling. That when I put
Absolutely.
my glasses on or I put normal clothes on, people just forget that I'm the wrestler. But then I take my glasses and stuff off, like, oh, you're
yeah,
Tony. Like I know I act like an asshole in wrestling, but like I'm actually a very like calm and relaxed person. Like, and if you come up to me and talk to me, like I'll have a conversation with you, but it's not like I'm not the most outgoing person. It's not because I hate you. It's just that's my personality. Like I'll have a conversation, like, oh, thank you for showing up, thank you for having a great time, blah blah blah. But if you would sit there and seek a conversation, I would talk to you. But like I would not be the person to sit there and have a full blown conversation that I would initiate because
Well,
my personality.
and in all fairness, a lot of wrestlers that I've met or I've worked with are kind of like that because you give it all that you have in the ring, and it's very like brain draining, not just physically, because you get like the endorphins and the rush of the athleticism, but you're putting on a show for people. And I don't know. I mean, even when I'm doing ring announcing, sometimes it's hard to talk to people at the end of a show, and people are like, "Oh, great job, da da da." Or if I'm doing, you know, ring work and interviewing people, it's like I can only imagine it's like 10 million times harder after wrestling because you're also just physically like you just put it all out there.
Yeah.
And sometimes people can't draw the line between Anthony and Tony, but you still have to be Tony, but also wait, you're just being Anthony too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm
It's
just
like
like, because like
it's a lot at once.
my character is like a million times of who I am personally. So I'm fucking going off the rails, flying, screaming, doing this, constantly going, and then like I go into the back and I completely come down from that high, and it's like it's almost like have you ever like you got drunk, fell asleep like halfway through the day and wake up still like to a day that you have to still function and you feel like shit?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's how I
absolutely.
feel after I'm done wrestling. Like I'm high up on that, but that's like my nap time for when I would be drinking, and then I wake up is when I'm done wrestling. I'm just like, man, I'm so exhausted. I just don't feel like doing anything. Like, please
Yeah,
don't
for
talk
sure.
to me, but I need to talk to people because I need to sell merchandise, etc.
Well,
Like,
yeah, it's the same thing with roller derby. Like after a match or announcing a huge tournament, like it's very just like I just need a moment to breathe, but also no, I still have to be Val Capone and talk to everybody. I mean,
exactly.
that's why I give mad props to any wrestlers and anybody that maybe comes across as an asshole. I try to remind people like they might not be an asshole, but they might be just brain drained. They might just be spent. They might not have anything more to give you. And while they appreciate you talking to them about the 27th time that you've seen them, they can't even compute that right now because they just did
Yeah.
fucking crazy shit or
Or the
they fell
fan,
on
they
their
repeat themselves 80,000 times about the same thing they said the first 10 minutes you had a conversation. Then you try to
yeah, for sure.
be sincere about it. You're just like, oh, thank you, and then you keep repeating yourself, and you're just like, oh my god, please leave me alone.
Yeah.
And it's not because you're not because you're like fuck off, but you're just like, I'm so tired. I want a moment to relax, and I want to watch the show because I'm still a
Because
wrestling
your
fan that I want to
dishes are
watch it.
done.
Yeah.
Sometimes your dishes are done.
Yeah,
Exactly.
see that, and that was my thing. Like, I didn't want to like just approach you and shit, because like I said, I know how wrestling fans can be, and sometimes you just want to fucking relax and just chill. You don't want to fucking, you know, hey, yeah, remember that time where you did this back in 2013, and you're like, what, like, dude, like, yeah, I get it,
I
so
don't remember last week.
Yeah, I don't remember
yeah,
yesterday.
Well, I
But it was
think
yeah,
quick.
with
so
that
yeah,
we should say thank you, Tony, for like taking a chance on our podcast because we did retool the format, so things have changed up a bit.
yeah,
So you are very much appreciated by the both of us and hopefully many other people
yeah.
that are tuning in. And is there anything that you want to plug? Because we randomly have listeners all over the country and in Sweden. Do you got
Yeah.
anything going on in
Ooh.
Sweden? Yeah, how
No, I
random,
don't have
right?
anything in Sweden. That'd be cool to go to Sweden, but the the next big type of shows for GCW we're doing in Jersey City we're doing a show. It's called what the fuck? I don't remember the name of the show, but it has. I'm not sure if you guys follow deathmatch, but Jun Kasai, who is the mecca of deathmatch wrestling, like motherfucker's crazy as hell, but he hasn't been in the United States in 7 years, and he's coming over
Oh wow,
for that show.
that's awesome.
So like
So
that's
that's
a
gonna
big
be sick.
show. And then
Okay, and
National Pro Wrestling Day for next month for Shikara in
and
Lancaster,
where can
Pennsylvania.
people find you on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook,
Um,
Snapchat? Where do you put your shit?
Facebook, I'm just under my personal name, Anthony Deppen. You'll get the best of both worlds. You'll get me wrestling personality. You'll get my personal opinions on things. So if you don't
Yeah.
want to hear personal opinions on things, please do not add me. So it's simple as that.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Instagram, I post a lot of beer pictures and dog pictures. So like that's on Insta Deppen. And then
Mhm.
I have my Twitter, which is just Tony Deppen. It's just a lot of posting of wrestling. That's where I do most of my business. I don't post a lot of personal political
Yeah.
stuff. Once in a while I will because
Yeah,
I like
you
to be
you
I
you'll
like
get
to
out
be
there once.
like I like to be like I'm a very satirical person. I like to paste a lot of satire, and that's what I do. Like
Yeah.
I won't post an opinion that shits on anybody. I'll just like post something like completely sarcastic, and
Yeah.
that's what. But I also post a lot of my wrestling stuff I do, and that's where predominantly my wrestling will go.
Okay. Let's just clear that up. Your Twitter name is Tony _Deppen
Oh, is
because
it?
Yeah,
I
because
never look at it.
because some shithead or some kid
Oh,
that
Patrick.
I'm in that same boat. So I was trying to get my name Patrick Pryor, but some shithead that hasn't tweeted in 10 years has my name, and now I have to put an underscore in it because of this fucktard. So I see that, yeah, you're Tony underscore Deppen, and then some high school basketball kid is actually Tony Deppen. So yeah,
I'm gonna find him.
yeah, find him and
Uh-oh,
let's book the
shit.
match. We're gonna book that fucking match. Tony Deppen versus Tony Deppen, and we can have like a 1994 SummerSlam Undertaker vibe going on. So yeah, man.
Yes.
Once again, man, thank you so much. I know you got like, shit to do, and hang with the dogs
Oh,
and stuff like
it's
that, man.
11:30 now in Pennsylvania, so I'm going to bed.
Yeah, go to bed, dude. I'm sorry for going like super over or whatever,
That's
but
fine.
but
That's
yeah,
fine. It's
man.
my day off tomorrow. I normally, because I wake up at 4. I've been up since 4:30 in the morning.
Oh shit, man. I feel like a dickhead
No,
now.
nah,
Damn.
dude. That's perfectly fine. It's just my normal
Yeah,
everyday life.
I feel like
All
shit,
right.
man.
Well, how about we let you get some sleep in Pennsylvania, and after we hang up, I'll talk about the upcoming freelance show tomorrow night, Sleepless in Chicago.
Well,
All
that
right, yeah.
sounds great. That show's probably gonna be awesome. And KTB's on, who's another East Coast guy from GCW.
Mm-hmm.
He's the man. So go
I'm
support
super
him.
stoked. Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
man. Thank you
All right.
so
Well,
much, man.
yeah. Thanks so much, Tony, for coming on,
Mhm.
and I look forward to seeing you at Mania Week. I'll be sure to say hello.
Well, make sure you come up and say hi to me, and I'll gladly not be completely too exhausted.
Yeah, thanks, man. Get some sleep, man. Get some
Thank
sleep
you.
for real.
Have a
All
great
right.
night, guys.
You
Yeah,
too,
take it
man.
easy, brother.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.
So yeah, Val, I guess we can talk about the show coming up.
Yeah, it'll just be our last thing before we sign off tonight, because tomorrow night is another installment of Freelance Wrestling. It's
Mm-hmm.
the first freelance only show of the year. Of course, we met Tony Deppen at Freelance versus GCW Game Changer Wrestling. But tomorrow night at Logan Square Auditorium, doors are at 8. First bell is at 9. There are 8 very awesome matches already announced. So there may be a couple of surprises. But in the interim, we have let's see, what do we got? Oh my god, there's so many good matches. All right, Ari Azteca versus Jake Parnell versus Kobe Durst versus Gary J. That's gonna be sick.
Mm-hmm.
KTB, as he was mentioning, I believe KTB was on the show that we've seen, and he's taking on Chris Castro, so that's gonna be really good. And spoiler alert, we're gonna have Eye Candy Elliott on the show soon. We got to finish out
Oh.
nailing down the date with him, but it hopefully will be around Valentine, so maybe he'll be our Valentine's Day. Eye Candy Elliott is taking on the one and only Sunny Kiss, which I believe it's Sunny's first time at Freelance. Very excited to see that.
Uh-huh. Oh
Um,
yeah, for sure.
yeah, Tyler Bateman. Oh my gosh, so stoked to watch him take on Robert Ego Anthony. And I believe that Robert Ego Anthony is without Frank the Clown. So
Oh man.
it's a
Mm.
Patrick friendly zone for the night, because I know you're a big
Yes.
fan of his.
I can't wait. I know he's gonna be at the other show in March, so I'm gonna make sure that I'm not sick and I can scream as loud as I fucking want. So
So then we have like an almost Legends of Backyard Wrestling, I feel like, and which is appropriate because we started out talking about backyard wrestling with Tony Deppen. We got Mitchell versus Linden versus Maccabee versus Zane versus Ricky Shane Page versus Kendrick. That's gonna be sick. It's gonna be one of the most intense matches on the card for sure. Tony Nas versus Gregory Iron. That's gonna be good. So we have this crazy tag team duo dance, I guess you could say. We have Bucky Collins with, I guess he's changed his name to McFinnigan, Mikey McFinnigan, and Darren Corbin are taking on the N-Words and Eric Cannon, so that's going to be good.
mm-hmm.
And last but not least, I'm so excited for this. I cannot wait to see who's going to come out and answer the open challenge set forth by freelance world champion Isaiah Velasquez. So the title's on the line, and we have no idea who's getting in the ring. All I know is it's going to be fucking good. So
Yeah.
if you haven't already gotten your tickets at freelancewrestling.com, and props to all our new freelance season ticket holders. I'm so excited.
Yeah, shout out to them. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Thanks for supporting freelance, guys and gals. but there are tickets still available. I think there's a handful of first row left. Those are $30. Second row is 25. GA is $20. You can get them at the door. Cash bar, but now we're taking plastic at the door and at the freelance merch booth.
That's now you're talking my language. Now you're talking my language. That is so clutch. And this is going to be at the auditorium.
Yeah, Logan
right?
Square Auditorium.
Logan Square.
It's right off the blue line, so you can take public transit there. Doors are at 8, first bell at 9 p.m. And I'll definitely be there. I'll be doing my thing, talking to folks backstage, but I'll also be out in the crowd, lady marking out in between my gigs.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, this was like a great show. Like I feel like I just like wrestled. Like I feel so exhausted. Like, because we got this new format and stuff, and we're trying shit out, and things are actually pretty fucking good. Like it's really good. Like I'm excited about shit. And yeah, man, holy shit. That's all I gotta say about that. And I'm glad I wasn't really a super duper mark.
No, I think Tony appreciated you and the time you gave him, because he is a solid talent that I feel like not enough people know about. But hopefully they learned a little bit more about him and they want to check him out, because he is a badass. He is a really nice guy. Don't let his, I'm cranky and tired. No, he's a very nice guy. Very, very hard worker. And it was a pleasure to get to talk to him. So thank you, Patrick, for reaching out. So with that, I think if any of you folks tuning in have any suggestions of who you'd like to see on our show, by all means, please reach out to us via Twitter or Instagram, or you can also email us. We'd love to hear your opinions. Yeah, it's super kind of a long email, but it's just scheduled for one fall podcast at Gmail. Yeah. And SFOF podcast on all the other social medias. And we'd love to hear your opinions, because, I always call he's a black guy. He's just a black guy that likes wrestling, and I'm a lady mark for life. But we also want to know what y'all want to hear and what you guys want to see for future episodes of Scheduled for One Fall.
Yeah, so. For real. And any wrestlers that's listening to this, or referees or anything, I don't care. If you guys want to be on the show, man, hit us up, man. Like, yeah, let's do it. Like, I am in it to win it, and so is Val, and let's get this shit really, really going. Let's, as the black people would say, let's turn this shit up. Let's turn it up. And man, once again, Val, always a pleasure talking to you, and helping me hold this down. It's been a long year so far.
It's been good.
So yeah, I guess I'm just gonna sign off because I don't have nothing else to do. So I don't know. So peace out, people.